Premier League live with Talk Sport.
The ball has broken through to Sterling into Gundogan. Lovely turn! And a lovely goal by Gundogan!
The only way to listen to the world's most exciting league outside the UK and Ireland.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool!
We've got every single goal, every single weekend of the season.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Premier League live with Talk Sport.
You're listening to Talk Sport's coverage of Chelsea against Bournemouth from Stamford Bridge. I'm your host, Adam Bridge. Alongside me is the former Arsenal, Rotherham and Southend United winger Adrian Clark. This is Premier League Live. A 100% record for Chelsea and an unbeaten start for Bournemouth. Something's got to give today. Despite those 3 straight wins, Maurizio Sarri is taking nothing for granted. He may be new to the Premier League, but Eddie Howe is not new to Sarri. They've exchanged coaching ideas over the last 2 years, and the Italian is a big fan of the Cherries' boss. And he knows how dangerous Howe's side can be, as do Chelsea. They destroyed the Blues here 3-0 back in January in what Howe described as their best ever result and performance in that run in the Premier League. But this is a different Chelsea. This is Sarri's Chelsea, resilient and full of goals. And should they enter the international break with 4 wins out of 4, I'm sure the question will already be posed, are they title contenders, and could Sarri potentially pick up his first major trophy as a boss? Let's have a look at the 2 teams for you today. One change then, of course, Hazard was brought back in last week. The change this time round sees Willian coming in for Pedro, so it's as expected. Aretha Beluga at the back, in goal, of course, Azpilicueta, David Luiz, Antonio Rudiger and Marcos Alonso making up that familiar now back 4 for Chelsea. The 3 central midfielders, N'Golo Kanté, Jorginho and Mateo Kovacic, and then up front it's Willian and Hazard alongside Alvaro Morata. Caballero, Christensen, Zappa Costa, Loftus-Cheek, Barkley, Pedro and Giroud make up the bench today for Sarri's side. As for Bournemouth then, unbeaten in 3, but he's rung the changes today. 3 in total and 2 Premier League debuts for signings made in the summer window. Jefferson Lerma and Diego Rico both get their first starts in the Premier League for Bournemouth today. The other change as well sees the introduction of Simon Francis into the starting 11. Sermon, Daniels and Brooks are the players that miss out from that 2-2 draw against Everton last weekend. So Begovic is in goal. It's a back 3 today, so there's a change of shape as well, with Francis, Ake and Cook the 3 centre halves. Then Smith on the right hand side and Rico on the left playing as the wing backs. Lerma and Gosling in the centre, with then King and Fraser providing the support to Callum Wilson, who many say was unlucky to miss out on an England squad call-up in Gareth Southgate's squad this week. The bench for them, Bollac is there, Mings, Sermon, Cook, Ibe, Brooks and Mousset as well. That's the starting 11s. Alongside me is Adrian Clark this afternoon, and looking forward to seeing a different Chelsea side.
Good afternoon. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to seeing Chelsea today. I think they've started really well actually under Sarri. It's obviously 3 wins out of 3 speaks for itself, but I think there's been an element of control. It's obviously a work in progress for them, but yeah, I've been particularly impressed by them in midfield. So strong, aren't they? I think any midfield that contains Jorginho and N'Golo Kanté is going to be exceptional, and they've added to that, haven't they, with Kovacic, who has looked good so far in a Chelsea shirt.
Well, you can see why that Pep wanted Jorginho, didn't he? He's looking to replace Fernandinho at some point in that kind of solo holding midfield role that they have at Manchester City. But the way those 3 potentially now can come together and complement each other, and this is how Sarri likes to play, isn't it, with 3 central midfielders?
Definitely, yeah, and he leaves it to the front 3 to really go out there and do it. Obviously he's going to ask Conte and Kovacic to join in as box-to-box guys on occasion, and Jorginho too, but yeah, it's very solid looking in terms of the unit. Jorginho's been excellent. He averages over 100 passes a game, hardly ever gives the ball away. He's a fantastic orchestrator from that central pivot, and he was brilliant doing it for Napoli, and he started excellently in the Premier League, where I thought it might take him a few weeks because it's much faster, the tempo is quicker, and he will have less time on the ball. Now, I think Eddie Howe will look to target Jorginho in this game and say, right, get around him, hound him as much as you can, because if you give him time, he would just run the game. So it'd be fascinating to see if Bournemouth can affect a very good player in Jorginho today.
As for Bournemouth today, they've had a cracking start. I saw them dismantle West Ham in the second half, and obviously they came back last week to get that draw against Everton. Very brave when you started so well to disrupt your group by bringing in 2 new faces.
Not sure why he's done it, really. It is a strange one. Obviously he spent money on both of them, Rico and Jefferson Lerma, who comes with a big reputation and a price tag. I guess £25 million. Bournemouth spent they've invested massively in him, so he's probably feeling under pressure to give him a game. What better place he probably thinks than in a freebie game, because I think even though they've had a great start, matches like this are seen by clubs like Bournemouth as free shots. You're not expected to get anything. Let's attack it, let's try this guy out and see if he can inspire another memorable win for the Cherries here, because they have a great record here, don't they? But yeah, I'm slightly surprised. Feel sorry for Daniels, for Sermon, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. It's a ruthless business, Premier League football.
The one thing that stood out for me in that victory against West Ham was the fact that they had that team spirit, that he hadn't tinkered, that he had taken his time, versus a West Ham side who had 7 new signings on show that day.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of worry for me. And it's, Neil Warnock's talked a lot about it, actually, about upsetting what has been a successful group.
Yeah, it's a very good point. David Brooks, of course, is the other one that's fallen out. I thought he played really well in the game against West Ham, where he was breaking into the box for fun, wasn't he? Had so many efforts on goal. Look, it's a slight gamble. Eddie Howe, you've got to remember, Eddie Howe's not a rookie anymore. He's a very experienced Premier League manager. So you've got to trust him if you're a Bournemouth fan. I think what's happened here with this lineup, and you've called it as 3 at the back, and it may well be 3 at the back, but it could be a 4-4-2 of sorts, as it was in the last few games, in which you'd have 2 right backs in Francis and Smith. And the reason he would pick 2 right backs are obvious. Is Eden Hazard, who's been sensational in the snippets we've seen of him so far. So I think this is a team selection that is almost built around containing Hazard.
You feel this is specific for today, and Howe's seen an opportunity playing this way to try and stop Chelsea?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think they've picked Francis and Smith. That tells me that it's an exercise in containing one of the best players in the Premier League. And also, with Lerma and Rico, it gives them a chance to blood them, see what they're made of, because he bought them for a reason. He bought Lerma because he thinks he's an upgrade in central midfield on Andrew Sermon, so he's giving him his chance, and Rico the same at left back instead of Charlie Daniels. So tough baptism for those guys, but look, if they can shine here today, they'll stay in, make no bones about it, because they've spent big on them.
And they did shine, of course, when these sides met here back in January. Similar formation that day that delivered the victory for Bournemouth, so maybe Eddie Howe is thinking like that as well. One quick word again on Jorginho. How has one player made such a difference to Chelsea?
It was a change in philosophy, isn't it? So back 4, where you have the 2 centre-halves splitting, and he basically is the guy that picks up the ball in the middle. And yeah, it's just transformed the way they play. Before, that was the centre-back, that was the central centre-back that was doing that. Jorginho's better than that. He moves the ball quickly as well. He gets it, shifts it on 1 and 2 touch, which in turn releases Hazard, Willian, Pedro, these guys that bit earlier. So hopefully they'll have more space. That's the premise of the Sarri philosophy, and I think it's working okay so far.
More to come from Adrian then ahead of kick-off at Stamford Bridge. The sun is out in West London. 4 other 3 o'clock kick-offs UK time this afternoon, and we'll look ahead to those when we come back. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Barclays Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at TalkSport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit TalkSport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Eriksen just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
We are joined on the preview show to talk about what has happened at the top of the table in the last few days by our former Premier League winger, Matthew Etherington. Adrian Clark's with us. Chris Iwelumo, fresh from the gym.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah! Who makes it 2 to Liverpool? 1 chance, 1 goal. Number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on TalkSport.com.
Welcome back, blue skies above Stamford Bridge. The Premier League weekend is already up and running with a win for Liverpool by 2-1 over Leicester. Coming up, we'll bring you live uninterrupted coverage of Chelsea versus Bournemouth. There are 4 other 3 o'clock kickoffs around the UK time this afternoon. Brighton and Hove Albion taking on Fulham, Crystal Palace against Southampton, Everton against Huddersfield, and West Ham looking to get their season underway with Wolverhampton Wanderers, the visitors to the London Stadium. We'll get the team news on all those games shortly. But first of all, let's hear from the managers.
Very happy with 9 points in 3 matches, but I think also that the table now is not so important. Now it's important to work. Now it's important to improve more. I think that we have the potential to improve more.
I've watched them a lot at the beginning of this season. I've been impressed with what I've seen. I think they're very different to last year. New managers come in and tactically has made it a different Chelsea that we're going to face.
We've had 2 games away from home. We got a wonderful result in our last game at home, and so any extra pressure there is going into games, then it's one that you welcome.
We know Brighton, we play in Championship against them. They don't change so much. It's same fantastic coaches front of this team.
We know how difficult it is to get any wins in this league. You know how well organised and what good players each opponent has, and we also know that we're always going to come across a team with enormous motivation.
Clearly they've got good talent at the top end of the pitch, physical threat, obviously with the likes of Benteke, but good technical ability as well as and the pace that they have out wide in full-back areas. So it's a good mix, it's a good, well-balanced team.
Tough game for sure. Premier League will be one more tough game for us, and for sure it's not important what the results they took in the past, even because they play against 2 big teams as well. It will be tough for sure.
The spirit which this group already have is not usual, especially if you have such a difficult start that everybody sticks together, and this is what we have to do. We have to stick to what we have done in the past, what always made us successful.
Over the second game we are going to play well, as we did part of the game against Bournemouth. We can do it now 90 minutes, and I'm absolutely sure that all of us together we are going to have our success.
Be consistent, be solid, be clinical, and play the game the way we want to play, respecting West Ham, a very good team, knowing that we're going to face a very tough opponent, and get prepared for it. 3 o'clock, kick-off, focus, play.
Thoughts of the Wolves boss, Nuno, wrapping up our managers ahead of the rest of our 3 o'clock kickoffs, UK time this afternoon, of course. Let's get to those games now and get you the team news. Let's start on the south coast at the Amex. Fulham trying to pick up a second victory after their win last weekend. They are visiting Brighton and Hove Albion, Chris Hughton's side. Watching for us is David Windsor.
In the first ever top-flight meeting between these two sides, Brighton host Fulham at the Amex. For the Seagulls, Lewis Dunk and Pascal Gross return to the 11. Tom Cairney is out with an ankle injury for Fulham. Ryan Sessegnon remains on the bench. Alexander Mitrovic, who's backed 15 league goals since February, leads the line for the away side this afternoon. It's Brighton against Fulham on the south coast.
To South London we go. Crystal Palace taking on Southampton today. Watching for us is Andrew Self.
Today's team news from Sellers Park is that Palace manager Roy Hodgson has made 2 changes to the side that lost to Watford, with Wan-Bissaka in for Ward and Jordan Ayew in for the injured Wilfried Zaha. And Palace have lost their last 12 Premier League games that Zaha has missed. Mark Hughes' side shows no changes to the team that lost to Leicester, so Danny Ings and Shay Long will lead the line. Yoshida and Targett come onto the bench for Stevens and Armstrong. With Southampton having won 4 of the last 6 games here and Roy Hodgson having only lost once to Mark Hughes, it's a tough one to call here at Sellers Park.
Everton so far unbeaten in this Premier League campaign against under their new boss, of course, Huddersfield Town. Well, they've got a point so far, but have looked far from convincing. Those two go head-to-head at Goodison, watched by Martin Hopkins.
Everton manager Marco Silva makes 4 changes to the side that drew 2-2 at Bournemouth last time out in the Premier League. Richarlison is suspended, Keane and Gay are injured, so coming into the side are Zuma, Digne, Schneidlin and Calvert-Lewin. Leighton Baines drops to the bench. Meantime, Huddersfield manager David Wagner makes 2 changes to the side that fought out a goalless draw with Cardiff in the Premier League last Saturday. Hogg is suspended, goalkeeper Ben Hamer is injured, so coming into the side between the sticks, Jonas Lörsel and defender Chris Lerver. It's Everton versus Huddersfield on Premier League Live.
Bottom of the table, West Ham United entertain New Boys Wolves, of course, who've had a pretty good start, having drawn with the champions last weekend at the London Stadium. With his eye on the game is Adam Inca.
Well, despite spending considerably over the summer, West Ham find themselves in exactly the same position as last season. The same problems still persisting. The defence has lacked organisation and any protection from the midfield. Some good news, though, as far as team news goes. Marko Arnautovic has recovered from injury. He starts. Cresswell comes in too for Masuaku. Opponents Wolves have won plenty of admirers with the football that they've played, but they've yet to win a game since their return to the Premier League. They've named an unchanged lineup for the 4th match in a row as they go in search of all 3 points here.
A reminder, all those games are available via our various broadcast partners around the world on their certain platforms. If you're with us here, though, we will bring you the commentary of Chelsea against Bournemouth and the goals as they go in throughout the afternoon. Adrian Clark's alongside me. It feels very early to be saying that game number 4 for West Ham at home against Wolves is a must-win. But when you're Manuel Pellegrini, you've spent all that money, you're integrating those new players, and so far you've yet to really deliver the perfect performance. The pressure's on at home.
Definitely the pressure is on, and the fixtures to come are not especially pretty for West Ham United. So we're looking at this game as one to ease the strain on their shoulders, really. I thought they were much better against Arsenal last time, even though Arsenal could have scored lots more times. West Ham themselves did pose a goal threat. I thought Felipe Anderson had his best game yet for the Hammers, but yeah, there are issues at centre-half and in central midfield that Pellegrini has to rectify, and I'll tell you now, it's not going to be an easy game. Wolves have got a great structure, very familiar, all the players know exactly their roles within the framework of the side, and they've got a lot of talent. They can dominate possession or they can play on the counter. I think West Ham are in for another tough game.
Huddersfield managed to get a point at home in a really drab 0-0 against Cardiff last weekend. Jonas Lörsel back between the sticks. I mean, I'm sure that was going to happen anyway, because Hamer has had 2 absolute nightmares in his first 3 games, and where he's come from to replace a guy who got 10 clean sheets last season, I can't quite work it out.
Do you know what? Honestly speaking, I don't think either of them are any good. Genuinely, I just don't. Jonas Lörsel is a good shot stopper, but he made a lot of rickets last season. I thought they were going to upgrade that position. Ben Hamer is not an upgrade on that position. He's a decent enough goalie, but he's had a very poor start to the campaign. Probably a blessing for him that he's injured, because I would imagine he would have been dropped. So yeah, Huddersfield's defence
didn't buy any strikers either, and they couldn't score.
No, it's not looking good for Huddersfield. You have to say, and look, Everton are sharp. They've brought a lot of their new players into the team today. Obviously, Marco Silva's been itching to do that. Everton, I still think they've got a long way to go to be remotely close to the top 6, but it has been a good start to the season, and I would expect them to sweep the Terriers aside today.
As you know, their Palace without Zaha today against Southampton, that never goes well, and Brighton and Hove Albion against Fulham as well, the other of those 3 o'clock kickoffs UK time, underway in about 10 minutes time. As I said, they are available via our broadcast partners around the world on various platforms. Alternatively, we'll keep you abreast with the goals as they go in, while we concentrate on the game at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and Bournemouth. Let's hear from the two managers.
I know him very well. I think that he is a very interesting young coach. I think he will make a mark in the English football in the future. They are very dangerous opponents for us, I think, because they are well organized. They are dangerous in counter-attacks, and so I think the match will be very, very difficult and very dangerous for us. But I think that we want to be in control of the match.
I've watched them a lot at the beginning of this season. I've been impressed with what I've seen. I think they're very different to last year. New managers come in, and tactically has made it a different Chelsea that we're going to face. So 4-3-3. They've been very fluid, very good. A lot of rotations in their team. They're really well coached and managed. So yeah, we're expecting a tough game.
Very happy with 9 points in 3 matches, but I think also that the table now is not so important. Now it's important to work. Now it's important to improve more. I think that we have the potential to improve more.
I heard a lot about his Empoli team and how impressive they were tactically. So I was really keen to go and watch him work. So we made contact with his people, and he was really kind enough to allow us to come. I actually don't remember the year that I went, but I spent a period of time with Maurizio, and he was absolutely brilliant with me. I learned so much, and it's no surprise to see now for me that he's one of the best coaches in the world, because what I saw, I was hugely impressed. Someone I got a lot of respect for, and I think he'll do a great job with Chelsea.
Thoughts of Eddie Howe and Maurizio Sarri ahead of kick-off at Stamford Bridge then. So a relationship between those two that's gone back a couple of years. And Sarri's right, isn't he, in spotting actually that Eddie Howe is a very fine young coach.
Oh, of course he is, yeah. And isn't it impressive that Eddie Howe, even though he is a Premier League manager, or was a Premier League manager at the time, he's taken the time to think, you know what, I've heard about this guy at Empoli that's ripping it up. I want to learn from him. And he's taken it upon himself to contact the club. Sarri direct, I don't know how it came about, asked if he could come and shadow him and watch him, and Sarri, being a nice guy, said yeah, no worries. So I'm really encouraged to hear that about Eddie Howe. It shows that he doesn't feel he's made it, and it shows that he's very, very ambitious to soak up information. He's a great young manager, and what you think about it, Bournemouth, since they came into the top flight, have never really been in any trouble. They've flirted with the bottom three at
every
times.
season they will have a run of 6 or 7 games where they don't win, and everyone goes, oh dear, but he sticks to his principles and his philosophies.
Yeah, he's never been panic stations. He's never turned into one of these managers that parks the bus. He will go for it, and it has paid dividends. I like the pace. He likes a lot of speed up top. He encourages players to express themselves. Ryan Fraser is a case in point. He's old school, isn't he? He's a winger that will run at players all the time. Not every manager, believe it or not, will encourage that kind of thing, but Eddie Howe does. Yeah, I like him. Will he ever get one of those truly elite jobs? Probably, but you couldn't guarantee it, because what can he achieve with Bournemouth that would attract the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs in the future, I wonder. So, but look, yeah, it's good that these two have got that relationship.
Very quickly on Chelsea, people are saying that Liverpool are the contenders to Man City. Chelsea win again today, 4 out of 4. Are they in the fray?
No, I don't think Chelsea can win the title, but I did say ahead of the season that I picked them to be third. I do think that they're the next best behind Liverpool and Manchester City. He's inherited a very good team. full of quality players, and he's just a very astute coach. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's not a kid, new to the Premier League, but definitely not new to top level football.
Never won a trophy either, Sali, but he's doing a good job at Chelsea. The teams are in the tunnel, and the big kick-off is coming next. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Southampton struggling down the bottom. We're joined by a survivor of their great escape team in 1999, Francis Bernali. Former Bluebirds defender Danny Gabidon joins us on the Premier League preview show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah, who makes it 2 to Liverpool. One chance, one goal, number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on talksport.com.
Go to talksport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click talksport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at talksport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates, ask in-game questions to our commentary team, and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah, who scores! Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much. Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Chelsea against Bournemouth from Stamford Bridge. I'm your host, Adam Bridge. Alongside me is the former Arsenal, Rotherham and Southend United winger, Adrian Clark. This is Premier League Live. The teams are out. The pitch is half bathed in sunshine and half in shadow right now. A few white clouds above Stamford Bridge. But it's a lovely afternoon for football as Chelsea's 100% record goes on the line against this unbeaten Bournemouth side who've made their best ever start to a Premier League campaign. The team news sees Chelsea make one change. Willian has come into the starting 11. He replaces Pedro, so they line up with Aritha Beluga in goal. It's Azpilicueta, Luis Rudiger and Alonso across the back. Alonso in good goal-scoring form at the moment, of course, despite moving back to that full-back role from a wing-back position. N'Golo Conte, Jorginho and Mateo Kovacic are the 3 central midfielders, with Willian and Eden Hazard providing the support to Alvaro Morata, who leads the line for Chelsea today. 3 changes for this unbeaten Bournemouth side then. Sermon, Daniels and Brooks all drop out today. Daniels is missing from the matchday squad entirely. In come Lerma, Rico and also Francis, the first two of those making their Premier League debuts for Eddie Howe's side. So Begovic is the keeper, changing shape as well. Three at the back with Francis, Ake and Cook. Then Smith and Rico, the two wing-backs. Lerma and Gosling in those central midfield roles, with King and Fraser either side. Of the informed striker at the moment, Callum Wilson, who many say should have had a call-up for that England squad announced by Gareth Southgate in the week. 3 goals in his last 4 Premier League appearances. Our referee today, and he's in a lovely shade of a luminous green, is Lee Mason, and we're almost ready to go. Look at the smoke that's filtering around the stadium after a fairly explosive start to this fixture, where of course these sides met back in January, and it was, as Eddie Howe described, the best result and best performance in the Premier League from Bournemouth. They were 3-0 victors against Antonio Conte's side that day, something that I think Chelsea will look to put right, of course, now under the guise of Maurizio Sarri. Adrian Clark is alongside me, and it's Chelsea that have got us underway here. And looking to come forward in a minute, giving possession away on that far side. First touch there for Rico, the ball infield to Lerma. He gives possession away with his first touch in Premier League football to Willian. And Chelsea will look to build from the back with Azpilicueta down that right-hand side, who drives on into Willian, but picked up again by Gosling, who then goes out wide to that left-hand side, where it's driven forward again by Bournemouth, but picked up by N'Golo Conte, who once more is running around that midfield and winning loose balls.
Yeah, well, he's a class act, isn't he, N'Golo Conte? But look, that 3-0 win for Bournemouth here will give them a lot of confidence, won't it? They've won here twice in the last few years. It's been a happy hunting ground for them. And on the back of a really bright start to the season, they won't fear this match at all.
Rudiger over the top towards Morata. It's almost messed up at the back there by Francis, who in the end regathers his position and clears the ball from inside the penalty area. It was a terrific ball forward by Rudiger, and Morata was away.
Yeah, he's very good at that, isn't he, Alvaro Morata? Lovely movement. It's not what you'd call a rapid front man, but he makes good runs. Very clever there. Francis, you thought he'd made a mistake, but he did make amends there. It was good cover play from him.
With the captain's armband again, with him being back in the starting 11. He came on in that game against West Ham United, but hasn't been first choice when it's been a flat back 4. That's been picked up by Adam Smith, who's played at the right back position with Ake and Cook in the middle, and as I mentioned, Charlie Daniels making up that flat 4 that Eddie Howe has gone with so far this season. Decent bit of possession, one in the middle of the park. Down the right hand side is Fraser across the face of goal. Wilson was coming in and almost got the touch. Says he was bundled over inside the 6-yard area. The ball's run out of play, but that's really poor. The ball just given away in central midfield by Kovacic, and an opportunity set up by Fraser, and Wilson was inches away.
It is a brilliant turnover. It's fantastic central midfield play from Dan Gosling. He steamed in to close down Kovacic, who's caught in possession. It's a wonderful transition. Lovely ball across the face of goal from the man in form, Ryan Fraser, and Bournemouth are unlucky not to be 1-0 up there and just have a tap in at the far post. That was interesting. And I do think that the Bournemouth midfield are very industrious. They'll look to do that whenever the opportunity presents itself.
Counter on here, Jorginho coming forward. Early ball played over the top. Hazard to try and race onto him once more. Francis is there with a crucial interception. He's claiming the deflection off of Hazard, but the referee appears to have given it the way of Chelsea, and they have a throw midway inside the Bournemouth half.
Well, it's the second hairy moment for Simon Francis. They're holding quite a high line at the moment, and it's a great ball from Jorginho, just aimed in behind Francis for Hazard, and he does well. He's facing his own goal. That's uncomfortable, but he hooks the ball away from danger, Francis.
Well, they did actually end up giving the throw the way of Bournemouth for the flick off of Hazard, and it's laid in field by Kovacic again to N'Golo Conte, who's 25 yards from goal. Brings in Azpilicueta, who puts the crossover, looking for Morata, who had made the run to the edge of the 6-yard box. It was a cross that came from fairly deep. He was only about midway inside the Bournemouth half as he laid that ball across, but too much on it for Kovacic and out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, Bournemouth has squeezed everybody over to the other side of the pitch, so he's all on his own there, Azpilicueta. I think if he had a second go at that, he takes a touch and he looks to pick his spot, because we all know about his great chemistry with Morata. There, he went for the one-touch cross and it was badly overhit.
It was his 200th Premier League appearance against Newcastle last weekend in that 2-1 victory. Ake on that far side. pushing it out wide. The chase is on for King into the corner. Good defending done by Rudiger. And away by Jorginho up the line to Willian, who's back towards facing his own goal and near his own penalty area. He's taken a little knock there from Diego Rico on that far side, but it's a throw to Chelsea, 5 yards outside their own box. And once more Sarri has the end of his cigarette in his mouth, unlit of course. How he copes.
Yeah, he's a quirky character, that's for sure. I'm not sure about his clobber. He's you know,
it's a kit man, isn't he?
The t-shirt and the tracky bottoms. It's not a great fit. Not the best look.
Alonso down this near side. Up the line he goes, but tries to find the feet of Kovacic. Controlled by Cook, and by Francis, and on to Ake, and Bournemouth have it midway inside their own half. Their only other Premier League win against Chelsea, that came here the first time these sides met. It was a 1-0 victory back in December 2015, so they have won 2 of their last 3 visits. They clearly feel comfortable playing at Stamford Bridge, and as we say, they've made a super start so far. That opening day win against Cardiff, then the victory away against West Ham. That's a lovely ball hooked in towards Willian, and once more defending required, this time from Diego Rico as he clears the ball out from the edge of his own penalty area, and it's a throw on that right hand side for Chelsea.
He did really well, Diego Rico. That was a lovely ball again, clipped over the top of this high line. David Luiz, perfect weight on the ball, and Rico was at full stretch to hook the ball away. Willian was breathing down his neck, but that's been a feature, hasn't it? Chelsea willing to go long when they feel it's right to do so, and you wonder whether Bournemouth might get undone in that way.
Both Rico and Lerma played in the victory over MK Dons in midweek for Bournemouth in the League Cup. I feel that maybe Eddie Howe always had his eye on that fixture as being the one where he would blood them and then unleash them on the Premier League thereafter. On the right hand side is Azpilicueta, lifting a ball down the line for N'Golo Conte to chase. He's just got the other side of Ake, tries to keep the ball in, but Ake with the final touch, and it's the first corner of the game, and it's Chelsea's on the right.
Oh, he's everywhere, isn't he, N'Golo Conte? What an adaptable footballer he is. I mean, one of the world's best DMs, and now he's used as a box-to-box player, and he's just as good.
Short ball into Hazard from Willian. Willian, second time, gets it over towards David Luiz. Palmed away. Oh, Begovic has saved that while lying prone on the floor as Willian drove it goalwards from the right-hand side. And Bournemouth get away with that one. The quick corner took them by surprise.
Yeah, he's very innovative, Mauricio Sarri. That was a very clever, crafty, short corner. And it almost caught Bournemouth off guard first up. The ball was fizzed across the face of goal. Could have gone anywhere. Goes back out to Willian, and he spanks the ball across the 6-yard box, and he makes the save, Begovic. So let's credit him for that. I'm not too sure he knew a lot about it. It's ended up being a double save.
He certainly didn't know about the second one, did he? He was laying on the floor,
yeah,
and it's cannoned off his legs. I think he got a knock from David Luiz as well.
It was brave, wasn't it? Because David Luiz was steaming in on him, and he's taken one for the team there. Asmir Begovic, of course, was here at Chelsea not so long ago.
Well, Begovic is being checked over, I think, because he has had a bit of a knock on the head. It's his 50th league appearance for Bournemouth today. He made 33 appearances during his time at Stamford Bridge, but did of course win that Premier League title with them in 2016-2017 as well. He has started every game since he signed permanently for the South Coast side, and that's number 42 today. Eddie Howe is also sporting a t-shirt and trackies, but just looks a little smarter than Sarri.
It's just a better fit, isn't it? He's gone for the more tight-fitting, cut Sarri's look, isn't it? But he doesn't care, and you've got to admire, a manager that's not really doesn't have an ego in that sense. He's a manager. All he cares about is the football, and there's a lot to be admired by that. A lot of Premier League managers these days, you imagine they spend time looking at themselves in the mirror before kick-off.
Chelsea looking to become the second team to get 4 wins out of 4 this Premier League campaign. Liverpool have already started it. There were in total 4 teams with 3 out of 3 heading into this weekend. Lovely work by Azpilicueta, pulls that one back towards Kovacic at the edge of the penalty area. Couldn't quite find him, and Willian's on the charge down the right hand side now. Willian Just checks his run, has support from Hazard, who pokes it out to Azpilicueta at the edge of the penalty area. Now to N'Golo Conte. Here's Willian on the right hand side. This is lovely play from Chelsea towards the byline. Willian pulls it back and Lerma's there and intercepting. Appeals for handball. Morata gets the shot away, having smuggled the ball out and spun to the right hand edge of the 6-yard box, but it's quite easily saved by Begovic.
Well, it does hit the hand of Jefferson Lerma. He slips, he goes with the wrong foot and flicks the ball onto his right arm. He doesn't know anything about it. It's not deliberate, but it's a really clumsy attempt to clear the ball. I mean, that was unconvincing from Lerma, who gave the ball away with his first touch in Premier League football. You do wonder, this is a difficult environment for him to get his Premier League bow, and at the moment it's kind of passing him by.
The Colombian picked up 16 yellow cards in his 26th La Liga appearances last season, so he likes a tackle.
Yeah, and I think once he settles it, it will be an asset, and I think he'll look to crunch the likes of Kovacic, Jorginho and Conte if he can get close to them in this first half. It's a really tough job actually for Lerma and Gosling, just a two-man central midfield engine room, and they're up against three fantastic players, so yeah, I wouldn't swap places with those two Bournemouth central midfielders today.
It's interesting, when they are out of possession, they are very much playing as a 5-4-1. Here is Morata on that right hand side. Ake slips in again and gets the ball behind and out of play for a corner.
And again, it's a ball played in behind the Bournemouth defence. I think I remember when Chelsea played Arsenal a few weeks back, a great joy in behind, and they're looking down that avenue again.
10 minutes played, Chelsea 0, Bournemouth 0. Here's Willian, this time a more conventional corner, and the header from Rudiger, and it was a free one from 8 yards out, flies over the top of the bar.
Bad header. He escapes his marker really well. It's an excellent delivery from Willian. And Rudiger, he starts off on the edge of the box, he gets away from his man very, very easily. It's Steve Cook, and really should hit the target there.
50th appearance today for Chelsea for Rudiger. Begovic clears and Rudiger gets the next touch on the ball, this time in a defensive capacity as he closes down Callum Wilson to win the header, and Hazard works really hard to win that ball off Adam Smith on this near side, and the throw is Chelsea's taken short by Alonso, where he picks up David Luiz. And a reminder, the other teams with a 100% record, of course, they go head to head tomorrow. That's Tottenham and Watford, so something's giving there as well. Liverpool already won today against Leicester, so 12 from 12 heading into the international break for them. Can Chelsea follow suit? The last two occasions they've actually won the opening 3 Premier League games of a season. They have gone on to win the title. That was against under Mourinho in 2014-2015, and then in Conte under 16-17 as well. And Sarri also looking to become the first manager, so the 6th manager should I say, to win his first 4 Premier League games. Kovacic gives it short to Jorginho. Here is David Luiz. Finds Rudiger. Up towards halfway. Rudiger's ball forward. In towards the feet of Begovic. And brought out nicely this time by Francis. And now down the right hand side. Here comes the attacking prowess of Smith. Smith gives it short. Loses possession to Jorginho, and now Willian's on a run. Out wide to the left-hand side, he finds N'Golo Conte, who's on a charge. He's got Alonso to the left. Alonso now with a chance to deliver first time. It's across the floor to the edge of the 6-yard box, and Morata is just beaten to it that time, having been tracked all the way and blocked off on this occasion by Simon Francis.
Yeah, it was good defending at that near post. It was a lovely ball into the box from Marcus Alonso, flashed along the 6-yard box. It's all Chelsea, isn't it? Well, I just looked at the stats, 82% possession. I mean, it is one-way traffic in terms of ball domination. Sarri he liked to play this way for Napoli.
What's a ball over the top for Morata, but the offside flag is up. Lovely finish. Yeah. Finds the back of the net, but the whistle had already gone.
Yeah, very nice finish. He's got a little bit more confidence off the mark for the season, isn't he, Alvaro Morata? And again, it's a tight call. He is offside, but again, this high line of Bournemouth is dicing with depth, really. But yeah, I mean, they've had pretty much more than 4 times as many passes Chelsea have had compared to Bournemouth, and Bournemouth are a possession-based team, so quite remarkable, really. And especially when you consider that Chelsea under the previous manager often had less possession than their opponents, even at Stamford Bridge preferred the counter-attack.
David Luiz has it. 4th straight start for him. His only Premier League appearances since February, but very much first choice here amongst Maurizio Sarri. Down this left-hand side, trying to chase on was Kovacic, who's just nipping there as Cook's come across and won the ball and put it out of play on this near touchline. And it will be a throw-in for Chelsea. Taken short to David Luiz. Kovacic looks a little uncomfortable. Not sure it was any challenge, but just the way he pulled himself up. And he has the ball. Managed to win 7 trophies in his time at the Bernabeu, of course on loan from Real Madrid. Also a star for Croatia over the years. I haven't featured too much in the World Cup. More cameo appearances off the bench, really. Here is Willian, short to a World Cup winner, and N'Golo Kanté. David Luiz just touches that down. Oh, it's sloppy from him. Here's King. He's got Wilson ahead of him. Wilson's making the run out to the left. King looks like he's going to go alone and tees it up for Fraser, who gets in the penalty area. But who else is across but doing the defending? But N'Golo Kanté, who concedes the throw by the corner flag. Terrific stuff from the Frenchman.
Sensational. Absolutely sensational from N'Golo Kanté. David Luiz gives the ball away in a shocking area. It's just so lazy. And then all of a sudden it's a 2v2. Josh King doesn't elect to pass the ball to Wilson, who made a good run. He toe pokes it towards Fraser, but out of nowhere Kanté appears to kill that particular counter. I think King has to slip his partner in there, Callum Wilson.
Here's the throw. It's a long one from Cook as well, to the edge of the 6-yard box. It is flicked on, comes out to Gosling on the left boot on the volley from the edge of the box, but he's put it well over the bar.
Oh, it's sat up nicely for Dan Gosling. It's a good old-fashioned long throw that's not dealt with at all well. Comes off the back of Rudiger's head. It sets up so nicely. I think Dan Gosling would be disappointed not to hit the target.
16 minutes played. Chelsea 0, Bournemouth 0. Goalless as well in all our other games. Brighton, Fulham, Palace, Southampton, Everton, Huddersfield and West Ham and Wolves. A reminder, it finished 2-1 to Liverpool at the King Power earlier on today. That victory against Leicester City. Mane on target and Firmino with his first goal since that Champions League semi-final. Here is Rudiger bringing the ball out from the back. The German just finds David Luiz, who will look to make up for that error a few moments ago. Oh, lovely ball through to Kovacic here. He's burst through the ranks of the defence in the penalty area. Goes down once the penalty. Not going to be given. It was a fair challenge. The ball was out of play by Smith. Kovacic was looking. He turned around straight away to look at Lee Mason, and it's out for a corner.
We saw a superb recovery at the other end from N'Golo Kanté, and here it's Adam Smith, the right wing back. He catches up 3 or 4 yards on Kovacic just to put the ball behind for a corner because he was away. 1v1 there, Kovacic, from a gorgeous flick by Eden Hazard.
Short corner again from Willian. Back from Hazard to Willian again. To Alonso at the edge of the box. N'Golo Kanté tries to tee this one up maybe for Jorginho, who's just forced back by the presence of Josh King that time. And Callum Wilson now out to the right hand side again. Jorginho floats the ball into the box and it's away by King, and N'Golo Kanté will lift it forward on this near side. Lovely takedown by Eden Hazard, making his second start of the campaign. Here is Willian to Alonso out wide on the left hand side. Hazard once more got 2 or 3 black and red shirts around him, but he's happy to find himself some more time by going to Rudiger, who launches one from distance, and that's into the upper tier.
Don't do it.
Dear, oh dear.
Don't do it, Antonio. I mean, that's a shocker. 30 yards out. It's probably 30 yards over. Not a pretty shot from him, but I'm really impressed by Chelsea at the start of this game. Playing with so much confidence, knocking the ball around crisply. They're infinitely better to watch than they were during the end of the Antonio Conte regime. I think Sarri got Napoli playing some gorgeous football, and Chelsea are on their way to replicating that.
Well, they were the closest contenders, of course, to the old lady in the last few years in Serie A under Sarri, and he had, of course, the use of Jorginho as well. I think there was a couple more he probably wanted to bring, but didn't quite work out for him. But he's making the best of what he's got here. Ross Barkley, who started those first 2 games, probably feels fairly unlucky to find himself on the bench after fairly competent performances.
Yeah, but competence not going to be good enough, unfortunately, is it? Not when you've got one spot to play for and you've got Kovacic, Cesc Fabregas, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Ross Barkley all competing for that one berth.
I'm not too sure we're going to see much of Fabregas in a Chelsea shirt this year, maybe apart from in the Europa League possibly, who knows. Here's Hazard on a run towards the edge of the penalty area. Eden Hazard goes down, the just gentle shove from Dan Gosling as Hazard cut across him. Was always going to be blown up by Lee Mason, and it's a free kick for Chelsea a couple of yards outside the penalty area to the left of centre.
Yeah, how many times have we seen that? Eden Hazard, low centre of gravity, just turn on a sixpence and drive at the heart of the opposition defence. Dan Gosling is shaking his head, but it's a definite foul, it's deliberate, and he did the right thing because Hazard was bearing down on goal. The issue is Chelsea are very good from these kind of positions. It's left of centre, it's 22 yards out. Now you've got Alonso, you've got Willian, you've got David Luiz.
For David Luiz, this one I would have thought.
David Luiz fancies it. Yeah. David Luiz seems like he's pulled rank here, but you've got three really good dead ball specialists. So look, I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm sure Asmir Begovic doesn't either.
Suits a right footer really, doesn't it? Unless Alonso's going to try and spear it into the opposite corner. 25 yards from goal then. It's to the left of the D. Alonso looks favourite, does hit it straight into the wall. Would have favoured a right footer for me, but Alonso clearly had the call. And it's cleared away for Bournemouth as far as David Luiz and halfway. And just so you know, and to tidy things up, Gosling went in the book for that challenge on Eden Hazard.
Yeah,
it's 0-0.
It was right that he went into the book as well. Yeah, Alonso, look, he's used up his free kick now, hasn't he? It was good acting from David Luiz, I have to say, because I was convinced that he was the one that was going to take that on. Seeing the official possession stats now on our monitor, it's gone up to 85%. It's absolute domination.
David Luiz's ball over the top to try and find his fellow Brazilian Willian, but it just had a little too much on it and it spins out of play for what will be a goal kick to Bournemouth away to our left-hand side. But again, Willian has made a terrific run coming on the outside of Steve Cook, and it's a dangerous business, this high line that they are offering out right now.
Yep, this 3-4-2-1 formation that they kicked off with Bournemouth has quickly become 5-4-1. I mean, they're having to get everybody behind the ball except for Callum Wilson. They're just finding it exceptionally hard to get hold of the ball right now, Bournemouth. 34 passes they've made. I mean, in 21 and a half minutes, so they're doing a lot of chasing. Let's put it that way.
It may be one of those days again where Jorginho outnumbers an individual team.
He might.
They're going well here again. Azpilicueta on that far side finds N'Golo Conte. Jorginho again, lovely stab to Azpilicueta, who's level with the edge of the 6-yard box. His attempted cross is deflected and then given away at the edge of the penalty area by Josh King. N'Golo Conte out wide again. Azpilicueta floats this one over towards Morata, comes down towards the edge of the penalty area. Eden Hazard is waiting for it. He's looking to take on Fraser. Bit of room on his right foot here for Hazard, and then pushes it again to the right-hand side. Willian, edge of the box. Got Lerma up against him. Cuts over, finds Alonso. 30 yards from goal. Willian once more, probing for Chelsea. Oh, lovely little flick to Kovacic. Lay off by N'Golo Conte. Now it's Hazard. Now in again from Azpilicueta along the ground this time. And Ake clears from the edge of the 6-yard area.
Well, they're holding firm, the Cherries, you have to say that. Good organisation.
Not the best deliveries there from Azpilicueta.
No, he's better than that, isn't he? He's an excellent crosser of the ball. But yeah, that's been off so far.
David Luiz, lovely ball here to Alonso, who's gone forward, and Ake clears it, almost an own goal. Willian gets up for Jorginho with a strike from the edge of the box, and it's to the right of the post, and actually it's taken a deflection, so it's out for another Chelsea corner.
Incessant pressure from Chelsea. It's another fabulous long ball from David Luiz, clipped over Adam Smith. And Marcus Alonso, what a ball across the face of goal, and Ake did really well to clear it. And then the shot comes in from the edge of the box from Jorginho. Another corner.
Left-hand side, this one for Willian. Corner number 4. 0-0 beyond the midway point of the first half. Willian gets it over straight into the arms, and the grateful arms of Asmir Begovic, who can maybe just give Bournemouth a little respite here. Still goalless at Stamford Bridge. Goalless as well at the Amex, at the Selhurst Park, at Goodison Park, and at the London Stadium as well. It's a dry afternoon so far for Premier League goals. Here's an opportunity for Bournemouth to release a little bit of pressure. Every time they're literally being turned and facing their own goal. Yeah. At what point do you say, OK, back line, we're going to get undone by this, we've got to drop deeper?
I think they have to drop a little bit deeper. You can see the tactic from Chelsea's point of view. I don't know what Bournemouth want to do. They want to press the man on the ball, but they just can't get close to the Chelsea players at the moment. They're just too good for them, too sharp.
There's a chance for Hazard again to set something up here for Willian, right edge of the penalty area. Willian on the charge. He just plays his ball into Diego Rico, and out of play on that far side for what will now be a throw-in for Chelsea by the corner flag. And is this Chelsea tactic aided by the fact they're playing these three centre halves and the wing backs?
I don't think so. I just think you're seeing a very, very good team playing excellent football at the moment, and it almost doesn't really matter what Bournemouth's shape was. This was going to be the pattern of the game. They've been forced into this because of the quality of Sarri's play. So yeah, they've just got to hold firm here, and whenever they do get the chance to counter, and we've seen a couple already, a couple of breakaways, they've got to be clinical, Bournemouth.
Down that right-hand side, ball pushed out to the far touchline, and Azpilicueta and N'Golo Kanté into the feet of Willian. Tries to tee it up for Alonso to strike first time, which he does, and he's ended up where Rudiger's did, in the top tier, behind Begovic's goal away to our left-hand side. The radar a little off so far for the Chelsea defenders when striking from distance. Yeah,
that's been the only downer, really, for Chelsea in this first half. The final ball, the final shot could certainly have been better. I just looked at the stats on the passing. Bournemouth have had 50 passes. The highest Chelsea players had 40, and that's David Luiz. So David Luiz is centre-half. Almost as many passes to the entire Bournemouth team, which is just crazy. Because Bournemouth are a very good passing side.
Well, they are when they can get the ball. They've got it now. Here's Fraser trying to play an early ball into the box. Gives it back this time to Adam Smith. Out wide again to Fraser. He's closed down by Alonso. We'll try and take him on though. He's like a little pocket rocket, is Fraser, as he tries to come inside again. But Kovacic is back doing the cover work this time, and it's going to be a throw-in for Bournemouth on the right-hand side.
Well, Bournemouth's back five are saying thank goodness for that, because finally the ball is in the Chelsea half and they can get some kind of respite. Well, not for Steve Cook, who's come up to launch this long throw, and there's a pigeon on the pitch just in front of him as well, so I hope that doesn't put him off.
Premier League record, his 112th Premier League appearance today, a club record for Steve Cook and for Bournemouth. Headed back in this time by Smith. The long throw was initially cleared by Chelsea. They have it back again once more with Smith on this right hand side though. Gives it short to Francis. All up from that attempted effort to get the ball in the box early. Here is Fraser. Alonso will sweep up at the back, and he'll put it straight into touch for a throw to Bournemouth on this near side inside the Chelsea half.
Much better though from Eddie Howe's men. It's been a very tough first 26 minutes for them, but finally they're able to just get some passes, get some confidence up on the ball, and it's almost as if sometimes you can rest in possession, and I think that's very, very important to get those breathers in. Until this point, it's just been non-stop for them.
Francis gives it short to King. King does well down the right-hand side. He gets away from his opposite number, Kovacic, who puts the ball then into touch with a decent intervention right by the corner flag on this right-hand side. It will be a throw-in for Bournemouth. We'll head to the Amex shortly, where Brighton have themselves a penalty. We will go there imminently to join David Windsor. Throw in though first on this near side for Bournemouth. Going to be launched in by Steve Cook to the edge of that 6-yard box. Not really dealt with again. Kovacic just nods it into the danger zone. It comes down to Callum Wilson at the left edge of the penalty area, and in fact it runs out of play and into touch for a Chelsea throw, level with the edge of the box. Let's get to David Windsor then, and that penalty to Brighton.
Just shy of 25 minutes played at the Amex. Home crowd expectant. Bettinelli in the Fulham goal. It's a fabulous save from Pascal Gross. It's a strong arm from Bettinelli to keep the scoreline blank.
Missed penalty then for Fulham, a decent save. And 0-0, as it is everywhere else. Palace and Southampton, Everton, Huddersfield and West Ham and Wolves. We've been treated to plenty of goals in the opening 3 weekends of this Premier League season. A little quieter today. Here is David Luiz inside the centre circle. giving it short to Jorginho, and now a chance to come forward for Rudiger. On that far side, the right-hand touchline, it's Azpilicueta to N'Golo Kanté. Nice build-up of play involving Willian as well, and now Jorginho once more, and now Willian's wide on the right-hand side with the ball at feet. N'Golo Kanté's gone outside him. Willian just teases, sets it up for Azpilicueta, who on his left foot drifts the ball in towards Hazard. He can't get there, it's headed away as far as Alonso, and now the little Belgian comes to this near side and picks the ball up himself out the edge of the box. About 25 yards from goal. Now he's on a run onto that right foot of his, that little jink and turn of pace. N'Golo Kanté just looked like he was going to unleash a shot, decided against it. Now there's Willian into Hazard inside the penalty area. Azpilicueta across the face of goal and collected by Begovic at the near post.
Good goalkeeping. Excellent concentration from Begovic. Lovely build-up again. And this time the ball, nothing too wrong with it from Azpilicueta, but the goalkeeper on his toes to gather.
Well, that's given away. Alonso then loses possession at the edge of the Bournemouth box, and now it's up as far as Wilson, who finds the chest of King, and now a chance for the counter maybe down the left-hand side. Here's Rico, early ball in with his left foot, Callum Wilson, oh what a chance! And he's put it over the bar from 8 yards, the ball across, probably didn't sit down for him as he wanted it to, but what a run and what an opportunity after that early ball from Rico. Had one touch before landing it in around the penalty spot, and it just bounced before him and he couldn't keep it down.
Fantastic counter-attack. It really was, and a wonderful ball in from Diego Rico, absolutely perfect. It did bounce up a little bit for Wilson, but the run of Wilson took him away from David Luiz too easily. Chelsea defender has got to track his man better than that. That is a let-off for Chelsea.
And I'm guessing there's an example of what Bournemouth are happy with.
Yeah.
They stay under all that pressure but then have a chance to score a goal.
Yeah.
And if it comes off, well, they end up with victory maybe, who knows. Here's Kovacic, edge of the penalty area on his left foot, takes a couple of ricochets, and Ake has to clear from the edge of the penalty area, only as far as Alonso. Lovely spread out wide to Willian, inside the penalty area, right hand side Willian, back to N'Golo Kanté, who just loses out to Lerma, who will then break from the edge of the penalty area. He's got King making a run outside him. Lerma though goes infield to Gosling. Gosling away from N'Golo Kanté. There aren't many who step away from him in that manner. He's got Jorginho though tracking him this time, and his ball to King is intercepted by Azpilicueta, and it comes off the back of Gosling and out for a throw to Chelsea.
Well, it's a better game for Bournemouth having that extra little bit of ambition. I don't think it's that they're being defensive here. They're just being pushed back by Chelsea, but the one thing that is encouraging for the visitors is that every time they break away, Chelsea look uncomfortable. I'm still not sure about David Luiz in a back four, and that they have a vulnerability, the Blues.
What a ball from Hazard. He brings in Willian down the right hand side, charging towards the edge of the box. Willian ball at feet. Hazard then comes outside him, edge of the penalty area. He's forced out again, this time by Rico, and it comes back as far as N'Golo Kanté, who drifts the ball on this near side to Alonso. Alonso will just give it short to David Luiz. Out on the right hand side is Rudiger. Rudiger looking to come forward again. Willian just lays the ball off to Azpilicueta, but too hard and a yard or so away from him, and it's out for a throw on the far side.
Yeah, really sloppy there from Willian, but in Callum Wilson, Bournemouth have got a striker in form, a guy that is sharp, he can run in behind defenders. Just looking at replay the chance, he sort of bounces up in front of him and hits him on the knee. That's why it's hard to control the effort, but the direction of the cross was absolutely perfect.
He's away again here, Wilson down the left hand side inside the penalty area. Rudiger's with him, he lays it across the box, but there's no one there, and well, that sometimes is the problem when you've been hemmed back in quite the manner you have. When you need to get bodies forward, there's just no one available.
Yeah, and what he did there, he got away from his man brilliantly, but he's got to get his head up and see that nobody's with him. What he did was put the ball in the danger zone, and then he put his arms in the air, Callum Wilson, and say, where are you? Well, what he should have done is know that they weren't with him and hold the ball up. But there we saw another example of his quality and the way he can get in behind.
Yellow card there for Alonso for a fairly cynical grab of the shirt on Adam Smith, and it gives a free kick to Bournemouth just inside the Chelsea half.
Cheap foul, but these are the situations Bournemouth will relish.
12 minutes to go.
Yeah, got some big guys. Steve Cook, of course. Ake can score from set pieces too.
Well, we've just seen what a left foot Rico's got on him. He's going to deliver this free kick out from this right hand side. It'll be a swinger in around that penalty spot. It's nodded down goalwards that time by Cook, and safely into the arms of Aritha Beluga, who, well, we haven't seen in this game yet, really.
No, he's had a very, very easy first half, hasn't he? Can I call him Kepper?
If you want, yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, the ball in was good, and Cook, as he so often does, got the first header.
We've had, 33 and a half minutes here. Chelsea 0, Bournemouth 0. Adrian Clark alongside me. You can get in touch if you'd like to as well. It's an intriguing game of football. And at TalkSport Live is our Twitter handle. You can get following and send us a message. We'd love to know where you are in the world listening, of course, at TalkSport Live, and we'll try and read some of those out as the afternoon progresses. David Luiz bringing it away from the edge of his own penalty area. He finds Rudiger, who of course was plying his trade in Italian football for Roma before joining Chelsea. Stamped ball through from David Luiz is beyond Hazard and Morata and safely into the arms of Begovic, away to our left-hand side. Interesting that 5 of the previous 6 Premier League meetings between these teams have actually been won by the away team. As we mentioned, a couple of victories for Bournemouth here. We're looking for history to repeat itself today, that's for sure. David Luiz inside the centre circle. I think that was deliberate there from Kovacic. He's just slipped away from Lerma quite nicely. Edge of the box from Kovacic, takes a deflection, the shot, and goes wide of Begic's right-hand post and out for what will be a corner to Chelsea.
I think he got lucky. He slips over. That's either very fortunate or the best piece of skill I've ever seen. He then races into space, fires his shot away, takes a deflection, but yeah, Kovacic, I think there was fortuitous.
Didn't get too many chances last season at Real Madrid under Zinedine Zidane. Here's Willian's corner from this near side. It's a more direct one this time. Really fired in lower towards the near post, but headed away well that time by Wilson. Off the toes of Begovic. Now is Alonso inside the box. Tries to drill it into the far corner, but once more the block comes from Callum Wilson, and it's out for a throw on this near side.
Great block. What a pass, though, from Willian into the feet of Alonso inside the box. The crispness of their passing really stands out, Chelsea. They're moving the ball with real assurance.
Alonso again wide on this left-hand side, just pings the ball into the box, but was always looping, and it was quite easy for Rico to clear as far as Azpilicueta. Here's N'Golo Conte. They're surrounding that Bournemouth penalty area yet again, but have yet to find a way through. Here's Kovacic to Conte again. Willian looks to make the run down the line, but instead Azpilicueta has to come inside to him. Now here's Kovacic, and now we've got Azpilicueta wide. Willian's down, feeling discomfort. Morata with a stop, and then the shot as he turned and hit it from about 8 yards out, but it's blocked, and now the counter's on as Fraser lifts the ball down this near side to King. Lovely back heel to Wilson. Ball's going to run to King on the right hand side again. He's got 3 blue shirts around him. He's got Wilson in support. If King can find him, lovely bit of skill into Callum Wilson, and the challenge from Alonso was a good one, but it breaks to Rico on that left hand side. On his left foot, he's going to hit one, and that's it's not quite made the second here, like a couple of the efforts from the back line of Chelsea have, but it's certainly well over the crossbar. Willian's down, might need some treatment. It's a goal kick for Chelsea away to our right hand side, and we have our first goal of the afternoon, and it's come at Goodison Park between Everton and Huddersfield. Martin Hopkins is your commentator.
Nunez there as well. Here comes the ball into the 6-yard area. There's the header, and it's in. Billy's got it. Crucial header. Huddersfield ahead. It's their first goal against Everton in 37 years, and it's only their second goal of the season. It's Everton 0, Huddersfield Town 1.
0-0 here with 37 minutes played. Willian still getting some treatment, and Huddersfield in front, but it would appear that wasn't for long. Here's Martin again.
Into the penalty area. There's a header, and it's in. Calvert-Lewin, an immediate response. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Almost a free header inside the penalty area. Good cross from the left.
1-1 then in the game at Goodison Park. Only game with goals. Brighton have missed a penalty at the Amex in the game against Fulham, but it's 0-0 between Palace and Southampton. Palace without Zaha, if you've just joined us today, and we know what happens then. And 0-0 at the London Stadium between West Ham and Wolves. Earlier on today, Liverpool beat Leicester by 2-1, and we're goalless here, and Willian is limping up the touchline with 7 minutes remaining in this first half.
Yeah, he doesn't look great at the moment, Willian. Hopefully he'll be able to run it off. It looked like an ankle problem for him. Just looking at that last attack from Chelsea, a brilliant block from Steve Cook inside the box. I think they're fairly heroic, haven't they? The Bournemouth centre-halves at various intervals, Francis, Ake and Cook have all intervened. Yes, you could look at Chelsea and say, could you have had a bit more craft, a bit more quality, but Bournemouth have defended pretty well.
We've had 38 and a half minutes. You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Chelsea against Bournemouth from Stamford Bridge. Here on the charge forward is N'Golo Kanté. He sets Willian away on that right-hand side. He's level with the edge of the 6-yard box here. Inside the penalty area he goes towards Hazard, who just miscontrols. And it's away by Dan Gosling here for Bournemouth. He's got too much on that pass, though, looking for Wilson. And it's picked up easily by Rudiger, and the wave of blue attacks commences once more from halfway with Kovacic and Jorginho on this near side. It's out with Marcus Alonso. Now David Luiz inside his own half. Rudiger again. All in blue with the white socks today, Chelsea, as that's lifted in towards Morata, and it just goes over the top of Simon Francis, but Morata wasn't the quickest to respond, and it's cleared away on this near side by Smith. And Josh King's lost possession there to Kovacic, but it's one back at the edge of the penalty area, this time by Lerma. And now on the right-hand side, chipping it down the line is King again. The chase was on, but it's well defended once more by David Luiz. 5.5 minutes to go in this first half. Eric is listening while on the way to the beach in Philadelphia with his son. So hello to you, Eric. And 98 grad is in touch from Hendersonville. And, well, he's saying up the cherries and has sent us a picture of his lawnmower. He's mowing his grass.
Looks like a decent lawnmower, to be honest.
Yeah. What a great way to speak. It's one of those petrol ones. I love a petrol one.
Yeah, I've never had the luxury.
Well, you've got sit-on for your mansion, haven't you? Here's King on the right-hand side.
I did get someone else to do it, I have to confess.
Well, that's the other option, isn't it? Here is Jorginho, right by the left-back position for Chelsea. He clears it only as far as Lerma, midway inside the Chelsea half. It's picked up by Francis. Now down this right-hand touchline, it's Smith down the line to King, holds the ball up. He's just going to then try and take on Jorginho and gets the better of him, gets to the byline and wins a corner for Bournemouth, their first of the game on this right-hand side.
Yeah, he's got a kind of free roll, hasn't he, Josh King, just in and around Callum Wilson. He pops up in various places and he's a handful. That's the one thing about Jorginho in the middle. He's not a great defender. He's a wonderful passer, gives and goes superbly, but he's not in the same league as Conte as a defensive midfielder. And I feel that could be an issue that rival teams prey upon this year.
Brian Fraser will be off with Scotland in the international break, but he's got the corner here for Bournemouth first. 4 minutes remaining in this first half. Right-footed, he lifts it to the edge of the 6-yard box where Rudiger will head it out straight back to Fraser on this near side, who's closed down by Kovacic. Good challenge as well from the Croat, and the throw-in on this near side goes Bournemouth's way.
I think he's had a good start. I think he's had a good start to his time at Chelsea, Kovacic. At Real Madrid, I'm not saying I didn't notice him, but he was easy to miss in that team of sort of superstars. But I kind of see what he's all about here at Chelsea, and I think he does deserve his place in the first choice midfield.
Cook with another long throw inside the penalty area. He was looking to try and find Francis. It's well battled for by King. Back to Francis, who gets it to the edge of the 6-yard box where Rudiger will take his time, have a touch and then clear. Ake nods it back into the danger zone. It's controlled by Alonso, but he's got Smith all over him, but it's clever play from the Spaniard, and it's picked up by Willian then, and now a chance for Chelsea to come from deep and push forward with 3 minutes remaining in this first half. It's with Jorginho. Out wide to the left to Marcus Alonso. Down the line he goes towards Morata, who's come deep to try and win a bit of ball. And he holds it up nicely. And Chelsea have it again as they go from sunshine into shade and then all the way back to Aritha Beluga, away to our right-hand side in the Chelsea goal. Possession, well, it's a bit better now. It was 85-15 to Chelsea. It's now 76-24, a sign that Bournemouth have just started to creep into the game.
And they have. They've been much, much better the last 10-15 minutes. When you think about it, they've had 11 shots, Chelsea, but how many of those shots have really been that close to scoring a goal? Has Begovic had to be the match winner or match saver for Bournemouth? Not yet.
We might have to now. Willian's coming forward. Smith steps in with a touch back to Begovic, who can only volley the bouncing ball clear from his goal line in fear of picking up the ball and conceding a free kick for the back pass. And it gives Chelsea a little advantage here on the right because they have a throw level with the edge of the penalty area. 2 minutes remaining in this first half. 0-0 at Stamford Bridge, and it's back as far as Rudiger. And now it's David Luiz. Quiet old atmosphere inside the bridge right now, as they desperately try and find a way through this stubborn Bournemouth back line. Here is Rudiger again, out wide to the right, where he's got Willian waiting. Infield he goes. Restored to the starting lineup in favour of Pedro today, having been dropped for the game at Newcastle for Willian. Rudiger back to David Luiz once more. You can hear the support on the touchline down below, as that's lifted forward this time by Jorginho. Morata's on the chase, but Begovic gets to the penalty spot, and Francis will feel he had things under control anyway there.
Yeah, it's another run off the shoulder, isn't it, from Alvaro Morata. He does it so well, so often, and Chelsea do have the defenders or the defensive midfielders to clip passes over the top for him. I still feel like that's an avenue they can profit from, but so far you have to say that the Bournemouth rearguard and the goalkeeper have got their distances right. It's just about always ran through to the keeper or being cleared by the defender.
Kovacic has committed a foul here, and it's going to be a free kick for Bournemouth midway inside their own half. Not too many delays in the opening 45 minutes, so I feel that potentially there'll be very little added time apart from that injury and the check on Begovic and Willian, so maybe a minute or so, and we're into the final 30 seconds of normal time anyway. There's been a goal at the Amex in the game between Brighton and Fulham for David Windsor.
Bosu Mensah on the right hand side. Bosu Mensah feeds the ball back, and it might be collected by Seri on the edge of the penalty area. It's a really clever touch inside, and that's a fabulous Fulham goal, finished by Schürrle.
N'Golo Conte on the charge here towards the edge of the penalty area, tries to set that one up for Morata, who pulls it back inside the box. Hazard, ball at feet, tries to pick his spot. Does he? Gives it to Alonso with the right foot off the post, and away by Francis, and now to be cleared by Josh King from the edge of the penalty area on this near side. He's got two round him, and in the end he loses out, and here come Chelsea again. We're into the 2 minutes of added time. Here is Hazard, gets the ball square, where he finds N'Golo Conte, the man who was the architect of that moment where Alonso just struck the post for Chelsea in the dying embers of this first half. Willian out wide on the right hand side. He's got Azpilicueta outside him. He's got the ball at feet. He's almost stopped moving, actually. Ake clears it, only as far as Kovacic, and it's cleared by Lerma from the edge of the box, but only up in the air. Cook decides he's going to come through like a steamroller and pick it up, and in the end Morata is penalised for the foul, and it's a free kick.
Yeah, they breathe again, Bournemouth. It was a wonderful counter-attack. N'Golo Conte surged with the ball at his feet, 50, 60 yards. Morata digs out a good cross, actually, to the far stick, to Hazard, who tees up Alonso, bounces it into the ground, doesn't he, right-footed. It's not the cleanest hit Alonso will ever make, but the keeper's stranded and just rebounds off the post. Very unlucky.
It was very unlucky indeed for Marcus Alonso. The width of the post denying Chelsea at the end of this first half. We've had a minute of the time that's been added on, and Chelsea have it midway inside their own half, but after good work from Josh King, Bournemouth have won themselves a throw on this near side. Alonso not happy. 30 seconds remaining. So Fulham leading at Brighton now, one apiece between Everton and Huddersfield, goalless elsewhere, as it is here at Stamford Bridge. Final chance of the half goes Bournemouth's way, and it's going to be courtesy of a Steve Cook throw. It's midway inside the Chelsea half, but he's going to launch this inside the penalty area. You can see that King's one of the targets. Francis is up there too. Taken down, spin and turn from Wilson, who goes down in the area, but no power in that shot, and it's easily cleared away for Chelsea. Potential for another throw on the far side, but I think Lee Mason's going to say that's enough, and he does. Half time at Stamford Bridge then. Chelsea come closest, courtesy of Alonso, who hits the post in the dying moments of the half. Callum Wilson with a real chance earlier on for Bournemouth, but it's stalemate at the break here at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea 0, Bournemouth 0. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Barclays Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at TalkSport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit TalkSport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre and Post-match analysis and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool!
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
We are joined on the preview show to talk about what has happened at the top of the table in the last few days by our former Premier League winger, Matthew Etherington. Adrian Clark's with us. Chris Iwelumo, fresh from the gym.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah! Who makes it 2 to Liverpool? 1 chance, 1 goal. Number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on TalkSport.com.
Welcome back to Stamford Bridge, where it remains Chelsea 0, Bournemouth 0. Chelsea coming closest towards the end of that first half. The good news is there have been goals elsewhere in the opening 45 minutes. Here's how they sounded.
Header goes back in, long with a chance for 1-0. What a block, now what? What a block from Crystal Palace's central defenders and full-backs.
Just shy of 25 minutes played at the Amex. Home crowd expected. Bettinelli in the Fulham goal. It's a fabulous save from Pascal Gross. It's a strong, strong arm from Bettinelli to keep the scoreline blank. Gross fizzed it to the right-hand side of Bettinelli and using the full extent of his dexterity in a very strong right paw, he palms it away for a corner kick, and the score remains Brighton 0, Fulham 0. Golden opportunity wasted.
Anderson on the edge of the 18-yard box, looking to get onto his right foot here, drives the shot goalwards, top save, down towards his left by Rui Patricio. Arnautovic following up, just couldn't send the ball back to a teammate inside the 6-yard box.
There as well. Here comes the ball into the 6-yard area. There's the header, and it's in. Billy's got it. Crucial header. Huddersfield ahead. It's their first goal against Everton in 37 years, and it's only their second goal of the season. It's Everton 0, Huddersfield Town 1. Out it goes to Digne on the left-hand side. Into the penalty area. There's a header, and it's in. Calvert-Lewin. An immediate response. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Almost a free header inside the penalty area. Good cross from the left. Good work from Digne. And there was Dominic Calvert-Lewin with his 3rd goal of the week. And almost straight away, after 36 minutes, Everton are back on level terms.
Might be collected by Seri on the edge of the penalty. It's a really clever touch inside, and that's a fabulous Fulham goal, finished by Schürrle.
Let's remind you of the half-time scores then in our games that kicked off at 3 o'clock UK time. It's Brighton 0, Fulham 1. Missed penalty there for Brighton, but Schürrle on target for Fulham. It's Palace 0, Southampton 0. If you missed the team news earlier, no Wilfried Zaha for Crystal Palace today, and we all know how that goes when he doesn't play. Goodison Park, it's Everton 1, Huddersfield 1. Huddersfield got themselves in front, but Everton and Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring for the Toffees to bring them level, and goalless at the London Stadium between West Ham and Wolves. Earlier today, Liverpool beat Leicester by 2-1 to make it 4 wins out of 4. They head the Premier League table. And can Chelsea join them? Well, at this moment in time, the answer's no. 0-0 against Bournemouth, and an opening kind of 25-30 minutes they absolutely dominated, but had nothing to show for it.
No, that's true. I was really, really impressed by the quality of Chelsea's football. The passing was so sharp, and I like the structure of their play as well. It was absolute domination, but, and this is the big but, they didn't really look like scoring. They didn't really get Begovic at full stretch. They didn't exert sort of periods of pressure. They had territorial domination, but they didn't really get him diving around all over the place. They were quite comfortable, Bournemouth. A few times there were excellent blocks inside the 6-yard box from the likes of Cook and Ake and Francis, but it could have been a lot more difficult for Bournemouth in that first period. And actually, the longer it went on, the more confident they got, especially on the breakaways. And when you reflect on that first half, you can actually say that inside the opposition penalty box, Bournemouth were just as dangerous as Chelsea. They were there about 1/10 of the time as Chelsea were, but they posed just as much threat.
That's been the difference, isn't it? Because they haven't made Begovic work at all, and yet on those couple of occasions you thought, hang on a minute here, Bournemouth are in.
Yeah, and it's not just the counter-attacks. Counter-attacks very good avenue, I think, for Bournemouth, particularly with the pace of Wilson and King. But the long throws are causing mayhem, and I haven't been at all convinced by the likes of Rudiger and Luiz and the way they've dealt with them. So if Bournemouth can get inside that final third and pick up throws and free kicks and corners, I could see them scoring in the second half. It might require more than one Chelsea goal to win this match.
And quality of final ball from Chelsea has been lacking a little at times.
Yeah.
Are we thinking that Pedro may offer something in that instance? Because when you look at what's about on the bench, you know, he or Barkley possibly with that quality of ball, but then maybe you're thinking about Giroud to offer something different that Morata is.
Yeah, I can see Olivier Giroud coming on in the second half. However, Morata, he's worked hard, he's made some great runs in behind, but nothing's come off for him in this first period. Yeah, I mean, there's not that much firepower on the bench aside from Giroud, is there? I'm not sure whether Barkley can offer that much more than the players they've got. Loftus-Cheek has got that power, hasn't he, on the ball? He can run with it and open things up that way. He might be the one that he turns to. But yeah, it'll be more of the same. Pedro, I guess, is a logical choice because he's playing quite well, Pedro. But Chelsea have been the superior team, and a lot of what they've done has been excellent. They will think, I believe right now, Sammy will probably tell them, continue the same as you started. First half an hour was brilliant. Do that again and we will score a goal. But it just depends whether Bournemouth can be as resolute second time around, or will they tire? And when they tire, will they lose concentration?
Maybe some questions for Sarri to answer at half-time, then we'll see how Chelsea get on when they come out for the second half shortly. Once we're done today, we're off to the Etihad Stadium for Manchester City against Newcastle. Let's whet your appetite for that one by hearing from Pep and Rafa.
Well, last season he did it against us away at home, the same like Chelsea last season, so I don't know. So I didn't speak with Rafa, so I don't know what's the settle. We have to adapt. So everything he's going to do is because he believes it's the best for them to get points, to make a good performance, and we're going to adapt and try to defend well and attack well against any systems or the way they want to play our opponents.
Which what we did in the past, getting points against the top sides, and be sure that we do the best for the club. So we don't need to prove anything. We have to do something that will be good for us to go there and try to get 3 points, try to get 1 point. So a good result for us.
No, I don't think to get the final right now. So when the final is in June, we are in August. So it's make a big mistake. So it's just focusing of course now in the Premier League, but when it's coming Olympique de Lyon, the first game, so try to get points to go through nearly final. So but I'm satisfied. The Champions League we did last season was so good.
Every year you have 2 or 3 situations in a dressing room during a game, during a training session that something happened between players. Why? Because they want to win, they care. So you want competitive professionals. We have competitive professionals, and I think it's very positive.
We'll find out if City can get back to winning ways. The late kick-off today, Man City versus Newcastle with Steve Lomas and Tom Rennie. When we come back, the second half of Chelsea versus Bournemouth. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League football is a truly global game, and TalkSport is the global audio partner of the Barclays Premier League.
It's a massive goal!
With live commentary of all 380 matches this season, available at TalkSport.com in English, Spanish or Mandarin every weekend.
What a goal! What a fantastic strike!
The event horizon of world-class football. Visit TalkSport.com to find out more.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
A line of bodies along the edge of the 6-yard box. Ericsson just rifles it in, and Harry Kane is there to head in almost on the goal line. More Premier League goals in a calendar year than any other player in history.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Edge of the box is Solanke. Through to Mo Salah! Who scores? Number 32! Mo Salah, the record breaker for Liverpool.
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league. Premier League Live. Brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
The Premier League preview show with TalkSport.
Sanchez wants runners. There's 6 players on the edge of the area to aim for. One is Smalling! Unbelievable scenes at the Etihad Stadium. It's 3-2 to Manchester United.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
We are joined on the preview show to talk about what has happened at the top of the table in the last few days by our former Premier League winger, Matthew Etherington. Adrian Clark's with us. Chris Iwelumo, fresh from the gym.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com and then hear every kick on Premier League Live.
Oxlade-Chamberlain goes down, but he still finds Salah! Who makes it 2 to Liverpool? 1 chance, 1 goal. Number 20 for the Egyptian magician.
Listen to the show on TalkSport.com.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Chelsea against Bournemouth from Stamford Bridge. I'm your host, Adam Bridge. Alongside me is the former Arsenal, Rotherham and Southend United winger, Adrian Clark. This is Premier League Live. The teams are out. We're almost ready to go at the start of the second half. Then no changes. So Arida Beluga is in goal for Chelsea. It's Azpilicueta, Luis Rudiger and Alonso with Conte, Jorginho and Kovacic, Willian, Morata and Hazard. And as for Bournemouth, it's Begovic in goal, Francis Ake and Cook. Then it's Smith, Lerma, Gosling and Rico with King, Wilson and Fraser. Alonso hit the post, the closest either side came to breaking the deadlock in the opening 45 minutes, and certainly the prawn sandwich brigade are still tucked away. We've got plenty of empty seats around Stamford Bridge as our referee Lee Mason gets us underway for the start of the second half, and immediately Bournemouth looking to attack down this left-hand side towards Callum Wilson. Willian does well to get it back to David Luiz, and his punt forward though is to Ake, and Willian's done well to follow up here and pick up the ball on halfway for Chelsea. Now he cuts across the centre circle looking for support. He's still going here, a little nudge from Fraser, but he lays the ball out wide to Eden Hazard. Hazard inside the penalty area, left hand edge, looking to cut onto his right foot, tees it up to Kovacic at the edge of the box, and the cries of shoot are met with a shot that's clattered into by Lerma. And it breaks out on the left-hand side again for Azar, who's going to come inside the penalty area. He's just down to walking pace, Azar, then just gives it back once more to Alonso. On that far side is Kovacic. Now Jorginho down the line towards Azar again, and then it's N'Golo Kanté in a central position. Wide on the right-hand side is Azpilicueta. Infield he'll go to Kanté once more, 25 yards from goal. Given back to Jorginho, and then on to Kovacic by Rudiger. And Kovacic once more. And there's a wall of red and black shirts just strung out across the edge of that penalty area, trying to deny Chelsea any room or any opportunity to manoeuvre. And Rudiger will go back to David Luiz, and it's going to need one of those clever balls round the back here, you feel, to unsettle this Bournemouth defence.
Yeah, shape is excellent from Eddie Howe's team. They're very well drilled. Wonderful run, by the way, from Willian to set up that good attack at the start of the half. Really, really strong, and it just got the crowd up for it and out of their seats at the start of the second period. Willian, for me, I think, although Pedro's a little unlucky to lose his place as he scored goals and contributed, I do think Willian is the more rounded player.
Works a bit harder, doesn't he?
Yeah.
All the way from defence into attack for Willian. Almost saw a neat little move there that involved a Hazard dummy, but didn't quite come off through to Morata. Here is Hazard again towards the edge of the penalty area. Lerma across with a challenge. Morata goes down under pressure from Gosling, but Alonso has it towards the byline, then tries to skew that ball back inside the penalty area, and Simon Francis is in close attention to block it out. For it'll be a corner on that far side for Chelsea. Willian will go across to take it. We'll be going to Selhurst Park shortly, and indeed Eden Hazard has left it there for Willian. I'm surprised if they work something short between them here. In fact, Hazard's going to deliver with that right foot of his towards the near post, comes off of Alonso, and Callum Wilson is back there defending and volleys it clear into touch for a throw to Chelsea on that far side. We will go to Selhurst Park in a moment. Palace taking on Mark Hughes' Southampton today. Here is N'Golo Kanté. To the right is Azpilicueta. Back in field to Rudiger. Run being made immediately there by Kovacic over the top. It's chased down inside the penalty area. Kovacic gets there first. Francis with a boot in manages to just push him off course. Out to Hazard. Hazard now inside the area. Turns onto his left foot. Lovely crossover towards Willian. And in fact he's penalised for a foul on the edge of the penalty area, which most people can't quite understand from referee Lee Mason.
No, it's a strange one. They're doubling up on Eden Hazard, aren't they? Great work rate from Bournemouth. There was a foul from a Chelsea player inside the box, off the ball, and that's why the referee blew up. But yeah, good pressure from Chelsea. But again, they just find it hard to deliver the right final pass.
That goal at Selhurst Park comes from Andrew Self.
Little ball out on his near side to Cedric. Cedric clips it up towards the run of Danny Ings. It's a goal! It's a goal and it's gone through! It's Danny Ings that scores it!
Danny Ings on target again then today for Southampton. Here is King. King coming through on that right hand side. Gives it short to Smith. Smith tries to go beyond David Luiz. Can't make it. On that far side, Luiz just holds the ball up and does well to give it back that time once more to Jorginho. And again, it's well played by Chelsea. They've kept the ball nicely under pressure, deep inside their own half. Then it's given away by the long ball forward by David Luiz. There is Gosling. Hooks it over the top, trying to find Callum Wilson. Once more, David Luiz will clear. Header won by Cook, and it's down to Ake midway inside his own half. Ake, of course, who made 17 appearances for Chelsea here, just a couple of starts before making the move.
It's been a good signing for Bournemouth. I still think there's a slight weakness with Francis. And look, they've played well today. Francis and Cook have been excellent alongside Ake. I still think that's an area that Eddie Howe might have strengthened better in the past, but those guys have delivered for him today. Ake, for me, is the pick of the bunch when it comes to the Bournemouth rear guard.
Here comes Jorginho, out wide to the right hand side. In fact, it's Kovacic that played it on to Azpilicueta. Now a chance here for Willian, who looks to cut infield towards the edge of the box. Instead he goes wide to Azpilicueta. Now what's the delivery like this time? That's a better one than Begovic will collect, as it's about to arrive at Morata inside that 6-yard area. And he collects quite nicely.
Yeah, catching practice again for Asmir Begovic. He's had a far easier day, I would imagine, than he was anticipating. Azpilicueta's got in some great areas, hasn't he, in this match? But unusually for him, he's flighted too many loose ones into the keeper's hands, and too many have been cut out low at the near post.
Here come Bournemouth, comes towards Wilson, but the thigh of David Luiz intercepts at the edge of the penalty area. Chelsea wants more. They have possession deep inside their own half, and N'Golo Kanté on to Jorginho, and now on to Hazard, who's on a run already, and he's over halfway, tries to stab it through to Kovacic, but he just pokes it into his heels, and it spins into touch on the far side for a throw-in to Bournemouth. A few more of your mentions where you are around the world. Prayash is in Nepal. It's 9 o'clock in the evening, and is slugging it out with the college assignment. That's a Chelsea fan, Prayash. Well, thanks for joining us, Prayash, and I would offer up Adrian Clark's services to help you with your college assignment, but I'm not too sure he's in a position to do that.
No, another time.
N'Golo Kanté here on the attack for Chelsea. This might cheer you up a bit. Out wide to the left-hand side is Hazard, who's on a run. Jorginho wants it at the edge of the penalty area. Hazard still going on his favoured right foot, edge of the box, gives it to Azpilicueta, thinks about a shot, but again he just goes to N'Golo Kanté, and it's at this point that most of these Chelsea attacks tend to just start to stumble and break down. Willian into Hazard at the edge of the penalty area, laid off to Willian, doesn't go for the early cross, goes alone, edge of the byline at the edge of the box, and pulls it back, and it's easily cleared for Bournemouth.
Yeah, no, look, they're coping very comfortably, you have to say, Bournemouth at the moment. Sarri may well be starting to get a bit twitchy in his seat, thinking, what can I do to change things? He won't change the system.
Hazard short to N'Golo Kanté, and Lerma with his first real intervention in the game, you would say. It's a really good tackle as he covered the run of N'Golo Kanté, and he puts it behind for a corner.
Yeah, it was a good piece of cover play. Tracked N'Golo Kanté all the way towards the corner flag. Crunching tackle. He's made a couple of good blocks, actually, Lerma. He's on the ball, he's offered next to nothing. Looked a little bit not out of his depth, but the pace of the game's been too much. But some of his defensive work has been solid.
Willian swings that one over. Decent header down and away by Gosling. Only as far though as Eden Hazard, who's at the edge of the penalty area. Willian doesn't go for the first time cross. You can hear some of the groans coming from the Chelsea faithful because he cut inside again, and now he gives it to Hazard via N'Golo Kanté. Here is Hazard again, edge of the penalty area, can't find a place to shoot, sets that one up for Kovacic. Now back to Hazard, who can shoot this time, and it's another great block this time by Jefferson Lerma.
That's a couple he's made in the last few minutes. Yeah, they've done that very, very well, Bournemouth, today. Just looking at the number of blocks they've made during the game, there's plenty. A couple apiece from Cook, Francis and Lerma before that one.
Really are monitoring and patrolling that edge of that penalty area incredibly well. The defensive wall goes up every time Chelsea get near, and then they try the long ball over the top like David Luiz has done, but it's not really worked this time. Lerma just gets a little bit muddled there in that back line once more with Smith, and now they have it on the far side again here, Chelsea. Hazard at the byline, ball at feet on his right foot, he's got two defenders around him, goes out of the penalty area and out towards Alonso on his left. Now Kovacic off the angle of the box. Now Hazard again at the byline. Lovely bit of skill onto his right foot. Alonso! Good save, Begovic. Low to his left-hand side. To Alonso from about 10 yards. He's tried to go across the face of goal, and Begovic makes a decent stop.
Well, it's the best piece of football we've seen from Chelsea second half. Very, very patient. Lovely ball from Kovacic. Released Hazard on the byline, and he does ever so well. Chops it back for Alonso, and he forces the save.
9.5 minutes gone in this second half. 0-0. Chelsea on the rampage. Here is Hazard coming forward. It's Morata. Oh, that's really poor. He's given that away to King, who then sets Callum Wilson away down the right-hand side. His run is being tracked here by Jorginho. He's got Fraser coming with him. N'Golo Kanté with a challenge. That's going to be a free kick and a yellow card, I would suggest, for N'Golo Kanté.
Yeah, good breakaway. That's why you have a striker like Callum Wilson, a quickie up top that can just carry the ball on those breakaways, and he did that superbly.
Should he have been picked for England?
I think he's unlucky not to be. Yeah,
but with Vardy going and his pace, you think they might want to replace Light for Light?
I think he is. If you were going to replace Light for Light, I think he's about as close as you're going to get, Callum Wilson. But obviously, Gareth Southgate just wants to see a bit more of him. I'm not convinced Callum Wilson's international class, but I think he's had a good start to the season. It was excellent last year, so he's close. He's knocking on the door.
Well, Morata and Josh King here are going at it hammer and tongs. And in the end, Simon Francis has come to intervene and just pull Josh King away. And I think Josh King is saying to the referee, a few minutes ago, he trod on my ankle. Or he's trying to do something off the ball. Morata is there. We're lucky that we've got a little replay here on our monitors. And there certainly is a bit of argy-bargy between them. And Lee Mason now having words with...
Let's just get on with it, lads. I mean, this is dragged on for a couple of minutes now, this little squabble.
Well, I think it's one to keep an eye on, because the first chance they get to go head-to-head, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, well, Rico and Smith are over this, and we've seen Rico's got a very sweet left foot.
Bit of a long way out for a shot, you would feel, maybe. Certainly giving himself a wall here, Aretha Beluga. Now it's going to be Smith to the left of the ball, Rico to the right. It's Rico's left foot. He's swung that round the back, and he was trying to find the head of Francis, and I don't think Marcus Alonso probably needed to do that, but he has put it out for a corner.
Yeah, it was the right call from Bournemouth not to shoot. Very clever little ball from Rico, aimed for Francis. You're right, he could have let it go out for a goal kick, no problem, but didn't want to risk it, Marcus Alonso, and as a consequence, Bournemouth have a corner, and Rico's going to swing this one in from the right-hand side.
Scored against Bournemouth back in April down on the south coast. Left-footed, that one swung over and nodded down and nearly in. I think it was Ake who almost got the final touch to it, and it bounces over the top of the bar and out of play. The initial touch, I think, came from Cook, and then Ake arrived and he's put it over from about 4 yards.
Oh, it's an absolute open goal. It is a gift for Nathan Ake to score against his former club. He's 2 yards out, and somehow he's met the ball on the half volley and leant back, and the ball's flicked over the crossbar. Not an easy chance, but that's a wonderful chance that's gone a begging.
Well, he did score against them when they met here in January as well. Shows no mercy against his former side.
It was close range, so you think he's got to score, but it was an awkward ball to control. What a let-off. Chelsea did not defend that corner at all well.
Almost 58 minutes played. Chelsea 0, Bournemouth 0 still. You're listening to Talk Sports coverage from Stamford Bridge. Adrian Clark alongside me, Adam Bridge. Kovacic out wide to the left-hand side. Picked up by Hazard now, who's on a charge here towards the edge of the box on that right foot of his. Tees that one up for Jorginho, 30 yards from goal. Now to this near side is Azpilicueta. Tries to find Willian. First attempt is blocked by Smith. Second attempt does go inside the penalty area, but is cleared away by Ryan Fraser amongst appeals for a handball from Chelsea. And there's a foul there, and it's a late challenge. I think it's on Gosling, and it's going to be a free kick. You might see another card potentially coming out here. Gosling is down and in some discomfort. Referee Lee Mason, I think he's just said it was his first foul.
It's worked so hard, Gosling. Yeah, there was an appeals for handball on Ake, and it was a handball, I think, towards the end of the box. Let's look at the foul. It's Kovacic on Gosling. Gosling has got through some work. I mean, he's one of the most industrious players in the Premier League, Dan Gosling. Always at the top of those lists we sometimes see for distance covered. He doesn't play every week, does he, for Bournemouth? But when he does, he puts himself about.
That should have been a yellow card, I think.
Yeah.
I think Kovacic was well late there.
He was.
But here's Lerma in the attacking third for a change. He's taken a bit of a snapshot there, I think, and it's come off of Jorginho and safely through into the arms of Begovic away to our left-hand side. 59 minutes on the clock, 0-0 at Stamford Bridge. Forward come Chelsea, but only as far this time as they're allowed to by Cook. Nice ball forward here to pick out Wilson, 25 yards from goal. Josh King wide down the right-hand side. On the right, just tries to lift the ball in, and David Luiz blocked it out. It's another corner for Bournemouth on that far side.
Well, it's more even, second half. When you think about that one-way traffic we saw for much of the first period, this half, the pendulum has swung. A couple of minutes at one end, couple of minutes at the other. So yeah, Bournemouth are certainly growing in belief, I think, here.
Corner on the right for the visitors. Almost at the hour mark, 0-0. Just turning the heat up a little here on Chelsea. And it's the new boy on debut, Diego Rico, who's going to deliver this corner left-footed, and he's got a decent delivery on him. Swings that one over towards the back post, and his keeper's lost it. But the referee says that Ake fouled. Aretha Beluga in the process.
Well, He's not the most physically intimidating goalkeeper you've ever seen. He climbs really high. It's Nathan Ake. I didn't see a foul there. I don't see one.
I mean, there is an outstretched arm from Ake, but I don't think it's deliberate. It's more that I think Aretha Beluga has leapt into him.
Yeah, it was unconvincing goalkeeping from a guy that costs an awful lot of money.
Talking of unconvincing, Morata's off and Olivier Giroud is on.
Yeah. I liked his movement early on in the game, made some terrific runs in behind, but just hasn't felt like he was going to score a goal today. And Olivier Giroud, you know what you get from Olivier. He'll hold the ball, he'll win more in the air as he just did there, and he'll be hungry. And we know that Olivier Giroud is one of the best substitutes, in Premier League history, really. He's always a super sub.
Here's Willian on the charge towards the edge of the box. Out wide on the right is Azpilicueta. To Willian. Is he going to think of the shot on his left? He isn't. He's going to tee that one up for Kovacic. Then is Alonso to deliver. Chips the ball up towards Olivier Giroud. Gets a knockdown towards Hazard. Almost pays off immediately for Chelsea, but it spins out of play for a goal kick. And I'd like to point out a newly shaven head of Olivier Giroud. However, he has still got the beard.
He's got to get rid of the beard for me. Look,
there's more hair on his chin than there is on his head right now.
Yeah, but look, Olivier Giroud is a handsome guy. He'll look good with any kind of haircut, to be honest. But yeah, not a fan of the beard. But he will make a difference, particularly in the air, and he'll bring the likes of Hazard and Willian into the game more. When Morata's not on it, he can be a little bit lightweight, can't he, up top?
Yeah, there's no doubt he offers very little in that respect, I think. That goes without saying. Whistle's being blown here. Giroud is still chasing, but it's out for a throw on the far side. 62 minutes played. 0-0 here. Elsewhere, Brighton 0, Fulham 1, Palace 0, Southampton 1, Everton 1, Huddersfield 1, and West Ham 0, Wolves 0 as things stand. In about an hour and 10 minutes' time, Man City against Newcastle will be kicking off. We'll get you a little sneak of the old team news on that as soon as it comes in. Here is Kovacic out wide on the left-hand side is Hazard. Hazard now charging forward towards the edge of the penalty area on his right foot, takes on the first man, gets to the byline across the 6-yard box, and it's away, this time by Cook at the near post, and Lerma then trying to break away with a bit of support from King here. King trying to get forward. Alonso is forced back to Rudiger, and they're pressing here. Yeah. And it's all the way back with Aretha Beluga away to our left-hand side.
Incredible work rate from Bournemouth. They are fighting tooth and nail for this point. They want to cling on to it, but there's a long way to go in this game.
And Chelsea are countering with Hazard. Only runs into Francis though, and Francis will hack it into touch on that far side. Wilson tries to keep it in, but it runs out of play. We'll go to the Amex in a moment, where there's been a second goal in the game between Brighton and Fulham. And here's David Luiz. He finds Antonio Rudiger. Rudiger down the right, into space for Azpilicueta, who's on the overlap. Now a chance to deliver a decent ball in, but it's straight into the arms of Begovic. Let's get to the Amex then. David Winters, your commentator.
But Mitrovic wins the challenge. It's Mitrovic inside the penalty area. Alexander Mitrovic. It's a fabulous save, but Mitrovic at the second attempt rolls it goalwards. The Serbs simply cannot stop scoring. Fulham double their advantage, and that might just be all 3 points.
2-0 then to Fulham against Brighton. That's a fixture that I'm sure Brighton would have looked at and thought they'd like to get to winning ways. Second change here for Chelsea. Willian is the player that's going to depart.
Yeah, it's a little bit harsh on him because I think he's looked very bright in passages of this game. But at 0-0, I guess that Mauricio Sarri feels he's got to roll the dice and try something fresh. They're the two most obvious substitutions, Giroud and Pedro.
Pedro is on. 64 minutes on the clock. 0-0. Bit of frustration just coming around Stamford Bridge. A little flick down the line by Wilson, who's fouled after he's got rid of the ball there. King has it on that far side. It's done really well. Bit of shirt pull in there with Kovacic, the pair of them. The two number 17s entangled. That's out for what will be a goal kick to Chelsea away to our left-hand side.
Yeah, he's worked ever so hard. Josh King in this game, as has Callum Wilson. It's a difficult match for a striker because you see very little of the ball. But when it does come your way, you've got to hold on to it. You've got to try somehow to take Bournemouth up the pitch. And when you think about what's happened in this game, they've both done that really well, Wilson and King.
Well, Chelsea have given it away again here. Fraser on that far side. on the near side, should I say. Lovely little flick down the line by Fraser. Gives it to Rico. Rico's crossed into the edge of the 6-yard area. He's volleyed clear by Jorginho this time. Trying to find Pedro. Didn't quite make it. Again, Rico looking dangerous when he gets forward.
I've liked Rico. I mean, Charlie Daniels has got a wand of a left foot as well. And he'll probably be looking on and thinking, this guy's decent. But yeah, I think he's got something to offer, Rico. He's a big, tall player as well. Will help them at set plays.
£10 million he cost. Had a ban to serve for a red card he got for Leganés at the end of last season in La Liga. Cook in. Ake tries to nod it down. Lerma with a shot from the edge of the area. Almost hits the Drogba legend banner away to our left-hand side. There's a penalty at Selhurst Park for Southampton. Andrew Selfs, your commentator.
Charlie Austin, the substitute, whose shot was blocked by the hand of Adam Wan-Bissaka. Goal away to my right-hand side. Hennessy stands between Austin and 2-0. Austin, saved by Hennessy, who goes away to his right-hand side.
Stopped by Hennessy. It's 2 missed pens this afternoon. One was missed in the game between Brighton and Fulham as well. There's always that debate between what's a missed pen and a saved pen. I think both have been saved actually on this occasion.
Yeah.
So big ups to the goalkeepers involved. Here is Kante. Conte on this near side, should I say, for Chelsea. Giving it short to Jorginho again. Almost at the midway point of this second half. It's 0-0 in the game between Chelsea and Bournemouth. 0-0 as well in the game between West Ham and Wolves this afternoon. Goals elsewhere. Here is Pedro, 30 yards from goal. Wilson just tries to nip in and pick the ball up before it reaches Alonso, but has no luck. Now Kovacic on the charge down the left-hand side. Layoff by Giroud, back to Kovacic. It's Ake. He then has a second attempt at a shot, which smacks off of Gosling and away, and Bournemouth can clear.
So brave, haven't they? Putting their bodies on the line, literally, the Cherries players. I've been really, really impressed by their resilience. They've shown great grit here today. Not an easy game for Bournemouth, but they are doing their utmost to frustrate a very good Blues team.
Well, I think Alonso feels he was just fouled by Callum Wilson, and then in return, Alonso then has clattered into Smith as he was about to try and take the throw in quickly on that far side, and there's just a little bit of calm down, please, gentlemen.
Yeah, well, again, a bit twitchy. The Chelsea fans, the players as well, they're frustrated. They know that they're the better team. They know that they've had the ball for most of this match, but there is great frustration. They haven't made that breakthrough.
It's been a perfect game plan so far from Eddie Howe. Here is Pedro coming forward. Cook, who gave the ball away, misses the challenge, and Pedro's away down the left-hand side. Far touchline from where we're watching on. Here's Jorginho, short to Hazard. Hazard with the ball at feet to the right. Finds Azpilicueta in the sunshine, what's left of the sunshine at Stamford Bridge, as the shadow of the stadium and the stands just covers more and more of the playing surface. Hazard then tries to get it back from Giroud with a little bit of help that time from Pedro. Giroud tries the shot from the edge of the box, takes a deflection, and behind for another corner to Chelsea on this near side.
Yeah, it was an awkward looking volley from Olivier Giroud, but already he looks like making an impact, doesn't he? The former Arsenal player. Phenomenal record. No, it isn't a corner, is it? It's come off a Chelsea player. The shot struck Pedro, but it wasn't going in.
No, spotted by the referee. Hi to, what have we got here? Nellis Man, who says, enjoying the commentary in Lagos in Nigeria on a hot afternoon. All the best. Also hi to, who have we got? Stanford Lola, who's on the road from Indiana to Asheville. Enjoying the Chelsea-Bournemouth game, and says, come on Chelsea, at TalkSport Live on Twitter. If you'd like to get in touch, we'd love to know where you're listening around the world this afternoon. So get following and then send us a message at TalkSport Live on Twitter. We'll be heading to the Amex, where there's been a third goal in the game between Brighton and Fulham shortly, but in the meantime Pedro, he's dispossessed by Rico inside his own half. Rico then falls a bit of a dummy and gets away from Pedro. Out to Fraser on this left-hand side. Rico's gone on the overlap. Fraser gets the crossover though, looking to try and find Wilson, but it's headed away at the edge of the 6-yard box. Didn't quite fall kindly for Bournemouth, but what is Pedro doing inside his own half?
Yeah, it's poor from him, and Bournemouth to look very good from turnovers.
I think Jefferson Lerma's about to get his first yellow card in English football. The first of many, I suspect. This time for a foul on Eden Hazard, who just skipped between him and Josh King moments ago. And Lerma in the end, across for the challenge that eventually took Hazard to ground.
Yeah, it was the most blatant yellow card you could ever wish to see. And Lerma, yeah, he's found this a challenging game, I think, on the ball. That's one of a few mistakes he's made off the ball. I think he's generally defended well. But Hazard's going to draw a lot of yellow cards this season, as he always does.
Here's the free kick, lifted into the edge of the penalty area. Rudiger nods it on and out of play for a goal kick to Bournemouth. We're into the last 20 minutes. It's 0-0. That's not the case at the Amex. Fulham were leading by 2-0 last time we were with David Windsor.
Given away cheaply by Fulham. Could be a chance now for hands for Brighton, and Glenn Murray is screaming for it. Cuts out to Glenn Murray. Chance for Brighton. Goal for Brighton. And it's Glenn Murray for the Seagulls. Game on now.
Glenn Murray on target, still scoring goals in the Premier League. What is he now, 34?
Yeah, golden oldie, isn't he? Getting better with age. I mean, they've signed so many strikers in recent years, Brighton, but none of them can displace him in the starting 11.
Alonso up that far side, just chips the ball forward, blocked by Smith. In the centre circle is Pedro. Now coming forward again, Jorginho. There's Alonso. Pedro at the edge of the box, tries to exchange passes with Giroud. Comes to Pedro, deflected it in! And Pedro does it again! In fact, the subs combine. He and Giroud give Chelsea the lead with 19 minutes remaining at Stamford Bridge. Slightly fortuitous with a finish that took a deflection, but it beats Begovic. It's in the bottom corner, and Pedro has scored for Chelsea. It's Chelsea 1, Bournemouth 0.
Yeah, finally the resistance has been broken. Bournemouth have defended so stoutly in this game, but here the two substitutes combine brilliantly. Lovely one-touch return ball from Giroud, and Pedro sorts his feet out so quickly, shifts it from his left foot to his right, just takes a nick off a red and black shirt away from the keeper. You have to say that Sarri has nailed it with the changes that he made.
Yeah, it's off of Cook's backside, I think. And Pedro, with his own celebration of covering his eyes. I think I'm not too sure what that's all about.
No, but look, he scores goals, doesn't he?
Third one of the season already. He scored in the opening two fixtures, so probably felt he was quite unlucky to be left out today, but he's got the goal for Chelsea. With 18 minutes left here, they have the advantage. And, well, what have Bournemouth got? The game plan had been perfect to that point.
Well, they're going to have to come out now and show a bit more ambition. Nothing to lose. But, yeah, I feel sorry for Bournemouth because, deflected goal, you always feel a little bit hard done by. But I think it was the return pass from Giroud, instant, straight back to Pedro, and that just threw off, I think, Nathan Ake, who was closest to Pedro, and he punished it.
He did really well to shift it with those feet, didn't he? From
really quick feet.
What was his left foot to his right foot? And then the deflection off of Cook and into the back of the net beyond Begovic. Here's Hazard then, and well, you know that more that Bournemouth choose to push forward, then the more chance there is of them being picked off by the pace of Pedro and obviously of Eden Hazard as well. Here's N'Golo Kanté in the middle of the park. Goal scorer Pedro just spins inside the centre circle, plays the ball out wide on this right hand side to Azpilicueta, who collects it back that time nicely off Jorginho, and now it's with Rudiger. And now Chelsea playing with a little more confidence. There's a bit more of a buzz around Stamford Bridge as well. Now they've got themselves ahead in this game. A reminder of the scores elsewhere. It's Brighton 1, Fulham 2, Palace 0, Southampton 1, Everton 1, Huddersfield 1, and it's still West Ham 0, Wolves 0 in the centre circle with Jorginho. To the right hand side it's Azpilicueta. Actually had the worst home record among the top 6 teams last year, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Just 37 points were garnered at Stamford Bridge. And there's Fraser trying to break away as they almost gave the ball away once more.
Yeah, a bit of a soft touch last year, Chelsea. I mean, it's a terrible season. Antonio Conte's mood obviously just cast a shadow over the place, but everything's fresh now here at Chelsea. That most of the players are the same, but they've got that little bit more spring in their step. I think they believe in the new manager and his ideas.
Well, there's been just one clean sheet in the last 6 at home, so they'll be looking for that today, Will Sarri, and of course the first clean sheet of the season for him as well. Oh no, they had done the opening day against Huddersfield, should I say. That was a comfortable win that day. There's a little shove there in the back, it felt, but offside flag was up against Olivier Giroud.
Yeah, I'm still not sure about their centre halves at the very elite level. It's Arsenal created a lot of chances here. Could easily have scored 4 or 5 goals, but they're scoring more goals, aren't they, Chelsea, this season?
There's a chance for Fraser now at the edge of the penalty area. Is he going to get away from Luiz? Oh, he's just tried to bend it into the far corner. Just rushed it a little. He was on the left-hand side of the penalty area. He wanted to just open up and get his right foot across it. It's a lovely pass to let him in from Gosling. But Fraser maybe just went a little too early.
Well, it's the bender with no bend, isn't it, from Ryan Fraser? It's a really poor finish, actually. When you get so few chances inside the opposition penalty box, you've got to be as clinical as possible. And that was... just got his technique wrong there, Ryan Fraser. But you feel like there's a chance in it for Bournemouth. They've got so much pace and vibrancy in forward areas. I think they might have one more good chance at least to draw level.
Hazard inside the centre circle for Chelsea. All of an hour to go. 1-0 they lead, courtesy of Pedro. 3rd Premier League goal of the season for Pedro, and nice bit of combination there this time from Giroud and from Hazard, and Giroud just helps it back to the feet of Hazard again, and it's going to spin into touch on this near side despite the efforts of Jefferson Lerner. It's going to be a throw-in for Chelsea just outside the edge of the Bournemouth penalty area. Azpilicueta gives it short. Once more to Pedro. Back to halfway to Rudiger and David Luiz. I think that's the point, isn't it? With David Luiz there in a 2, you are always going to have an opportunity at some point.
You will, yeah. He's a good footballer. Very good footballer. Personally, I think he's a better defensive midfielder than he is a centre-half. But I would certainly prefer him in a back 3. There's a lot to like about Luiz, but concentration is not his strong suit, and he will give you opportunities. And then, Rudiger's a good defender as well, but even he has the odd mistake in him too.
Here's David Luiz. In short to Kovacic, and then lifting it out to the right where he finds Hazard on his right foot this time. Hazard tries to get the shot away. No, he leaves it for Pedro instead at the edge of the D, and then the effort is driven in by Kovacic again, and it's easily blocked, and time again they're literally queuing up to hit them at the edge of the penalty.
Yeah, they're almost at a standstill, aren't they? It's just that roadblock in front of them. I think Hazard should have shot there as he cuts in on his left foot. It opened up really nicely. He just hesitated, and the moment passed. I think Bournemouth have handled Hazard well. Hazard's looked good again, as he always does. You always think he's going to beat his man, but in general they've looked after him well.
Here's Fraser. Fraser slips that ball down the line nicely for Wilson to try and chase onto. Callum Wilson, he's got support, he's got Fraser outside him, still got the ball at feet, and then N'Golo Conte is the player who nips in with a challenge, obviously. Fraser though down the left-hand side. Infield he goes to Rico. Rico trying to chase it down, he's just bundled off the ball by Olivier Giroud, who's back doing the defending. And with 12 minutes remaining, it's going to be a goal kick away to our left-hand side for Chelsea.
He shouldn't even be there, should he? Olivier Giroud. He's tracked the left wing-back into his own 18-yard box, and that is why we heard the Chelsea fans singing Giroud, Giroud. He's a real team player. Is it a foul? I don't think so. I think it's faint appeals.
I think anywhere else on the field, that will be given as a free kick.
Yeah,
because he made no attempt to get the ball, and he has literally pushed his arm out, and he's totally shoved him out the way.
Well, he's shepherding the ball out. I think that if you give a penalty for that, I think it'd be harsh. But
that's why I say elsewhere, I think it would be given as a free kick.
I know where you're coming from.
Kovacic is going off here, and he's going to be replaced by Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Final change.
Yeah, good chance for Loftus-Cheek. He's got 12 minutes plus injury time, 11 minutes or so. Can he make an impression?
Well, interesting quotes from Sarri this week saying there's a lot he needs to learn if he wants to play in my team.
Yeah, but he's also said that he's improved a lot in the last 10 days, so I think he'll get his chances, but he's probably got to wait for injuries, unfortunately, Loftus-Cheek.
Here's the changes for Bournemouth then, and we're going to see, first of all, Josh King coming off. And we're also going to see Adam Smith coming off. And that will be for the introductions of Jordan Ibe and Lys Mousset as well. I did actually see a tweet earlier on asking about Jordan Ibe, actually. I think it came from Tom, who was basically questioning how far he'd fallen down the pecking order. Is that the case, or was there something else? Well, he's on today. I know he had a bit of an injury as well, but he's out there for Bournemouth now as they try and find themselves an equaliser.
He's got the talent, hasn't he, Jordan Ibe, to make things happen. Obviously, he's just rolling the dice now, Eddie Howe. But yeah, two players that can score goals.
Well, he's on the ball now. Jordan Ayew coming forward. It's his 100th Premier League appearance. And Alonso just nips in to win the ball ahead of him there at the edge of the penalty area. And now here's Loftus-Cheek away down that left-hand side. He's got Giroud running ahead of him. He goes out wide to Giroud. Pedro's in the middle. Loftus-Cheek will now become an option for Giroud. Edge of the penalty area on the left-hand side. Gives it short, and it's picked up by Hazard. Holds the ball, closed down immediately though on that far side by also Dan Gosling. Here is Loftus-Cheek. Out wide again. This time to Hazard. Hazard coming forward. Oh, he's got the better of Ayew. Hazard all the way inside the penalty area and across towards Giroud, who I think tried to punch it home with his right hand, but in the end it's safely in the arms of Begovic.
Oh, the acceleration of Eden Hazard is just ridiculous. He's standing still. He's done that all game. Stand still, waits for the defender to make his move, and then boom, he just surges past them. That was sensational wing play.
Well, you're certainly encouraging some kind of foul, or at least some kind of contact, aren't you, with that kind of acceleration?
Yeah, there's not many players that have got that. Neymar is one from a standing start. Neymar can knock it out of his feet and just explode,
and then rolls on the floor.
And then obviously he pretends he's got a hit and then he rolls over. But Hazard often does get fouled, but when he doesn't, he's exceptional.
However comfortable this feels for Chelsea, it's still only 1-0, and here's a long throw coming in from Cook again for Bournemouth into the box. It's volleyed away by Alonso. Lerma has more strength there than Eden Hazard and wins the ball, and now Cook will deliver it across. Oh, and it almost came to the head of Callum Wilson. I think Azpilicueta with a crucial intervention, and it's out for a throw on this near side to Bournemouth, midway inside the Chelsea half. Taken quickly to Rico, now to Fraser, who's trying to get away from Pedro. Almost fell fortuitously on this near side to Mousset, who by the corner flag is putting Rudiger under some pressure. Lovely clearance from Rudiger, and a beautiful layoff by Pedro at the edge of his own box to the feet of N'Golo Kanté. And now Jorginho and David Luiz as Chelsea look to take control again, leading by a goal to nil with 8 minutes remaining at Stamford Bridge. Loftus-Cheek on a charge here towards the edge of the penalty area. Loftus-Cheek still going. Pedro in space at the right edge of the box. Pedro will shoot and Begovic will save.
Disappointing strike, but wonderful run and surge upfield from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He needs to make an impression here on the manager, and that would have done. That was excellent. He eats up the turf, doesn't he, Ruben Loftus-Cheek? Not many players of his sort of build and size are so comfortable with the ball at their feet, and that was good play.
On this left-hand side again, in possession is Rico. Rico coming forward again. Lovely bit of interplay that time between Mousset and Wilson, and then they tried to find Fraser, but Rudiger was across and did enough, and then Rudiger and Fraser come together. Rudiger just drops his head down onto Fraser. To be fair, he's got several inches to drop down, and almost patronisingly just rubs the little man on the back of the head.
He's not a big lad, is he? Fraser picking on the wrong guy there, Rudiger.
Alonso is galloping forward here down the left-hand side. He's fouled by Hazard, but there's a foul on Ake by Giroud in the build-up at the edge of the penalty area, and it's a free kick to Bournemouth.
I've still got time, the Cherries. We've got 7 minutes plus injury time, so probably effectively 10 more minutes to get themselves a goal, and they've had that threat the whole game. I'll tell you what, I'm looking at this incident between Fraser and Rudiger, and it's bad form, isn't it, from Rudiger? Complete off the ball, he just shoulder barges Fraser over. I think that's a penalty.
Well, again, elsewhere, that's a free kick.
I think that's a penalty.
And in fact, he's given free kicks for similar in this game.
Yeah, if the ref saw that, he gives a pen. Weird defending. I mean, why is Rudiger even doing that? That's just stupid.
Almost 6 minutes left. Chelsea 1, Bournemouth 0. You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Chelsea against Bournemouth from Stamford Bridge. It's a free kick for Chelsea, and it's midway inside their own half, and it's taken by Rudiger, who tries to dig it out to the far side where Hazard have made a decent run. The header from Francis finds the feet of Alonso, and Hazard hugs that far touchline, giving it short again to Loftus-Cheek. They last won the opening 4 Premier League games of a season back in 2014-2015 did Chelsea. They will join Liverpool on 12 points with 100% records if they can hang on for the last 6 minutes or so. Here's Hazard! No need to hang on now. Eden Hazard makes it 2 for Chelsea. Wonderful drilled finish with his left boot underneath Asmir Begovic from a tight angle on the left hand side. And that is the 100% record intact for Chelsea. They lead Bournemouth with 5 minutes remaining by 2-0, and it looks like 4 wins out of 4.
Brilliant play from Chelsea. Superb return pass from Alonso, and he just drills the ball. Eden Hazard low and hard. That is a gorgeous one too. What a player the Belgian is. He's been well shackled all afternoon, but they couldn't stop him here. Top class.
Second goal in 3 Premier League appearances this season. He only managed 1 goal in the last 10 under Antonio Conte, but Hazard is back and firing for Maurizio Sarri. As a Chelsea, they lead here by 2-0. There's been another penalty to Brighton, this time at the Amex. They missed the first. What about this one? Let's hear from David Windsor.
83 minutes play. Bettinelli has saved once from the spot against Pascal Gross. Can Glenn Murray score for Brighton? Indeed he can. Parity at the Amex. It's 2 apiece.
It's a deadly double for marvellous Murray for Brighton as Jorginho hits one here from 25 yards. That's over the top of the bar. Glenn Murray, well, why not give him the first penalty? They wouldn't have gone through all this trouble.
I know. Here, though, I think Chelsea is very much job done. Everybody's relaxing now. There's more smiles on the faces of the supporters. They've had to work hard for this. Took a long time to break down that stubborn resistance from Bournemouth. But you can't argue that they don't deserve it.
And last year, under Antonio Conte, these were those kind of games where they were coming unstuck.
Yeah, and they've stayed patient. I remember in that Arsenal game when Arsenal pulled it back to 2-2, not a lot happened in the second half, but Chelsea just stayed patient. They stuck to their task, dominated the game, and eventually they got their breakthrough. There's a calmness about them under Sarri so far that's quite scary, I think, for opposition sides to deal with it. Yeah, they're in control.
The late boot been left on Ake there, so it's a free kick to Bournemouth midway inside their own half. Another change. Lewis Cook is coming on, and he's going to replace Jefferson Lerma for Bournemouth. And what have you made of the debut, boy?
Well, he looks a bit ungainly, he's a bit awkward. On the ball, he's contributed very little, but actually defensively gets about the pitch. He's made a number of blocks, so signs of promise. But yeah, he's certainly more of a defensive player.
Seemed a little better in the second half.
Yeah. He'll be better for the experience.
Bournemouth have it. Lewis Cook's in possession. Finds Gosling in the centre circle. Gosling tries to get the better of Jorginho, and Cook will pick it up. And wide on the right hand side, he has support if he chooses to use it, but he goes down the middle to Lys Mousset. Now it's a chance for Wilson. Wilson inside the box. Fraser across the face of goal, and the offside flag was already up, and it will be a free kick for Chelsea.
Nice football from Bournemouth. Just moving it, 1 and 2 touch, it ends up with Fraser on the left hand side. Good contribution from Lewis Cook there. Beautiful disguised pass, and I don't think he's offside. I don't know why the flag went up there. Nothing came with the cross anyway, but yeah, that's a poor call from the linesman.
Very tight, that's for sure. Chelsea leading here by 2-0. It's 2-2 between Brighton and Fulham. It's Palace 0, Southampton 1, Everton 1, Huddersfield 1, and West Ham 0, Wolves 0 so far this afternoon. A reminder coming up, we've got Manchester City against Newcastle. It's the final game of the Premier League day. Today, tomorrow, another couple of the sides who have so far won 3 out of 3 go head to head. That is, of course, Watford and Spurs. And a reminder, of course, Man United are in action as well. There's a club that's a little bit all over the shop right now, you could possibly say. They face Burnley tomorrow, and of course our Sunday in the Premier League all kicks off with Cardiff City versus Arsenal, and after that we're off into our first international break with 4 games down. Down the right hand side here is a ball forward from Francis, gives it short to Jordan Ayew. Infield to Mousset, lovely little flick. Gosling's on the overlap here. Gosling in a central area, pushes it to the left hand side. Here's Fraser. Fraser again tries to bend one. This time he's a little bit closer, not far away from Aretha Beluga's left hand upright. In fact, he's been given the corner for a slight deflection.
Yeah, what a cute effort that was from Fraser. Nicely worked again. Nice football from Mousset and Lewis Cook. The substitutes have looked sharp, and he's just bent this towards the far top corner. It's just a whisker away, Ryan Fraser.
It came off Aspilicueta. Here's the corner on that far side, not far beneath that Drogba legend sign that adorns that end of Stamford Bridge. Right-footed ball over by Jordan Ives, headed away by Giroud and out as far as Loftus-Cheek, who will just lose out this time to Jordan Ives on that far side, but then wins the ball back, and he's fouled in the process by the man they signed for £15 million from Leicester, Jordan Ives, who made 32 Premier League appearances last year. It's his busiest season so far. We're into 4 minutes of added time at the end of this game.
I thought Jordan Ives actually was much better last season. He often played in a sort of role, central, in behind, and I thought he contributed more. But there's competition, competition for places. Bournemouth have beefed up their squad yet again, haven't they?
Junior Stanislas still missing from that knee injury he picked up back in March. He was another one last season who did well, and also they brought David Brooks in, who was really impressive in his opening couple of fixtures this season for Bournemouth, having been signed from Sheffield United. So they certainly have options. No Jermaine Defoe in the squad today as well, of course. Thrown on this near side by Diego Rico. Gives it short to Lewis Cook. Now it's picked up by Steve Cook, out wide to the right hand side to Simon Francis, who will spin and turn and just tries to assess his options, and that's a decent bit of play between him and Jordan Ives. Now Francis again into Ives inside the penalty area, off of N'Golo Conte, out for another corner to Bournemouth on the right, and since they've shifted to a flat back four, they again looking a little bit more threatening going forward.
Yeah, they are. They had to go for it, didn't they? They're good football inside. If they're on the ball, Bournemouth, they'll always cause you problems.
Rico to deliver, second minute of added time, left-footed, it's over, and Rousset come and hit it, comes out towards Fraser, taken off his toes by Lewis Cook, and then it comes out to Fraser again, wide to the left-hand side, edge of the box is Gosling, now Fraser on that left foot, pulls it back, and David Luiz heads out, corner this time on the left-hand side for Bournemouth.
Well, it's not given up, Bournemouth, they're showing good spirit here. It'd be easy at 2-0 down to let the chins hit the turf, not so.
Well, they've been unbeaten in 5 games, I don't want to see that record go, but they will at this moment in time. Gosling just takes that off the toes of Loftus-Cheek inside the penalty area. Now Fraser again down this near side, tries to get the better of Pedro. Pedro just shepherded it out of play, and that's going to be a goal kick. And there's another ruffling of the hair for Ryan Fraser from the Chelsea players.
Yeah, Sarri, I think, deserves a bit of credit. I think he was quite decisive, wasn't he, with the substitutions. Could easily have stuck with Morata and Willian. Morata probably did deserve the hook, but he made the changes. It was the first change on the hour. I think Pedro came on 3 minutes